All right. Woo. We're live. Usually strange side. Isn't it usually always strange? The usual is always strange. Some dust. Clean it up later. He's more animated? Oh, that's fair because it's the anime. So what it means to be it's what it means to be anime. You're more animated. Makes sense. Alright, I'm gonna get some more of this game going. Looking forward to more Fruit of Grisaia. Hope you guys are too. All the sounds should sound okay. Never problems on regular OBS. Streamlabs OBS, we learning curve. Gotten ourselves a learning curve. Oh man, this game is so good. Actually, I had dinner with my parents last night. And I was trying to describe like how great this game is. And the mother of anime was like, well, if the bad endings are bad, why do you get them? Like, mother of anime, you have to get all the endings or it doesn't count. That's how it works, right? I don't know. I think that's how it works anyway. Last I checked. It's a visual novel. 100%ing it shouldn't be that big of a hassle or anything. So, now we doing it. We are the lives. Hope everyone else is feeling lively today. Enjoying yourselves, I hope. Pretty calm, pretty calm day, if I do say so myself. Hey, your Cheez-Its? Cheez-Its are good. Also, very nice, soothing music as we wait for that 7 p.m. mark to roll around. My time, of course. Now it is 7 p.m. EST. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Monday Night Livestream featuring yours truly, animefanrk2k here with the Fruit of Grisaia. I'm expecting bad things to happen. Not gonna lie, as always. But you know what? That's what these flashbacks are for. Show us all the bad things that happen to these girls, to get them to where they are. We are going through Sachi's route. Don't remember who Sachan or Sachi is. She's the maid. And how do you not remember that? She's the only one in the maid outfit. So if you're not sure which one's the maid, just look at the side banner I have, because that's Sachi. Anyway, Sachan, what are you doing over there? Yeah, but why? Want a clean place to play? Wow, you're so thoughtful, Sachan. I mean, lots of people might think the same thing, but that doesn't mean they clean up the mess themselves. Praise Sachi. And you did it without even thinking about it. You're kind of amazing. Oh, snap. Did I say something weird again? Head pat time? You haven't? Oh, they're busy. Okay, in that case, I guess I'll have to take over that job for now. Doesn't seem hard to find stuff to praise about you. I think even I can handle this one. Oh, snap. That okay with you? Okay, in that case. Good job, Sachan. Those words, Yukun brought his hand to rest on top of my head. It was far smaller than Mom's hand, let alone Dad's, and yet, in that moment, his hand felt gentler and warmer than any other I'd known. It's because she loves him. She loves this little boy. She's a little girl that loves this little boy. Yukun didn't just play with me. He gave me the attention I'd been craving. When I did well or tried hard, he complimented me right away. When I messed up or tried something risky, give me a few gentle words of concern. Apparently that also had something to do with his big sister's teachings, but whatever the case, Yukun's thoughtful warnings made me almost as happy as his praise. Lately, I started to wonder why I was trying so hard when no one even cared enough to look. But now Yukun was watching me. I had a new reason to do my best. Ganbarimasu! And then another day, at a certain place. Oh, make sure not to blink. Yeah, be careful, okay? She went, yeah! Yeah, you spun all the way around perfectly. That's really amazing. Not that I'm much good at the horizontal bar or anything. I've never done a forward flip even once. Aww. Oh, really? Thanks, Sachan. Oh, smack! Smacked him. Like, with her lips, guys. Huh? Aww. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Suddenly became so bashful. When I tried hard at something, Yukun will always praise me. Sometimes overflowing with happiness, I give him a kiss on the cheek in return. More than once, I drove myself so hard in pursuit of some new achievement that I ended up passing out on the playground. That was how much Yukun's words meant to me. He had stepped into the gap left by my parents' absence, giving me the attention and affection they no longer would. Sachi was his first kiss. Well, she just kissed him on the cheek, though. To some people, that doesn't count as first kiss. It has to be lip to lip. Lip locking. Mouth locking? I don't know. As I grew more and more conscious of what he meant to me, my daily life was quickly transformed. I spent less and less time inside the house. I got home from school, I head straight off to the playground. More than anything else, I look forward to the time I could spend playing with Yukun. At home, the constant grinding of the machines and the perpetual silence of our music box were still painful. I found I could endure them now. Not to say I didn't interact with my parents at all. Oh, and the music suddenly faded. Oh my god, Mom noticed! Hey, you made a friend, Sachi? Good job. Aww. When coincidence brought us together, we were able to hold slightly awkward but reasonably friendly conversations. Even so, had stopped actively trying to regain their attention. In contrast to the steadily shrinking place my parents held in my heart, Yukun's presence grew larger and larger by the day. Until there were no parents! Only Yukun! Wait, what? I wish I'd hurry up and be tomorrow so I can play with Yukun again. But the mom's like, oh, he's in love. Yup, it didn't take long for those feelings to blossom into a faint but unmistakable love, love, love. Love, love, love. Wait, what? And it's daytime. Oh snap! Look, Yuji's actually smiling first. Like I said before, I guess my sister. Like I said before, I guess my sister. Wait, what? Mary? I haven't even thought about that stuff yet. Sachan, are you thinking about it already? Dun-dun! Well, you brought it up, so I thought you were probably interested. You! Kun. Yeah, so... do you have someone you want to marry? Oh! No kidding? Okay, then I... Qualified. Qualified? As shoe kicking. It's tough. Shoe kicking. Oh, I never did that because I always found it annoying to get like dirt on my sock. I get it. Now, if I had like sandals or slippers, I don't mind walking around barefoot, but I just don't like dirt on my sock. I was a weird kid. Oh, let's do it. Huh, me? Sounds kind of fun, I guess. Sure, I'll play. Oh, snap. Confident, huh? Well, it does seem like something you'd be good at, Sachan. It's like, whip that shoe away. Like, whoa, that went pretty far. Yeah, I'm not that confident, but... yeah! Guess I can't beat you after all, Sachan. Oh. I purposely went a little easy on my kick. I still end up beating Yukun. Every once in a while, being naturally athletic can be a curse instead of a blessing. Spent that night curled up in my bed, bitterly regretting coming up with that stupid qualification in the first place. There must have been a better way to hide my embarrassment than that. And so, time slipped steadily by, my feelings unspoken. As my next birthday grew near, my relationship with Yukun started to change in a different way. Oh, new change. What's happening now? Meh. Oh, sorry, I was kind of spacing out. Heart and soul. Hey, how's it going, Minato? Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, you're right, sorry. Yukun had always listened intently to my stories. This was the first time I could remember his attention wandering in the middle of a conversation. But my unease was relieved quickly enough. He apologized and listened to the rest of my story. He must have had something on his mind that day. Who the heck's the bot? Nightbot. There, it's one of them chat bots. Been testing one out for YouTube and Twitch. So, yeah. Well, it's the same one, just different logins. One's YouTube login, one's Twitch login. And yet, Sachan, do you think there's a god? You know, one who knows everything, can do anything. There's a god that strong watching over us. Even if things look really bad, it'll turn out okay in the end, right?
そうだね。私は神様を見たことがないから絶対にいるとは言えないけど。
Sachi's like, oh, I didn't see a god, so I don't know.
でも神頼みって言葉もあるくらいだし、神様はとっても強いんじゃないかな。
Is that how it works? This is the day Kazuki went missing? Not sure yet. Yeah, that's gotta be right. God's gotta be really powerful.
多分。
It's hard to tell because, it doesn't tell us the actual day for either. That's what I thought too. Thanks, Sachan. She's like confused. Sometimes he'd suddenly talk about God or other weird stuff. More often he'd sit rocking on a swing, staring off into the distance with a blank look on his face. It was the old familiar expression from the first time I met him. The expression he'd stopped making after we became friends. I had a vague idea that something must have happened at Yukun's home. Oh, it's probably after, like, Kazuki was confirmed, like, gone. But I was still just a kid, powerless to offer any real help. When Yukun asked me those questions, clearly searching for reassurance, all I could do was listen, nod, and try to hide my concern. At the same time, the blizzard of work that had buried my parents for so long was finally starting to slow down a bit. The machines weren't clattering quite as late into the night as they used to. Once or twice, I went home early to find my parents making small talk with strangers in suits. Like most kids, I did get pretty curious about what the adults were talking about. When I eavesdropped, all I got was a whole bunch of words I didn't really understand flying back and forth. Were they lawyers? Got the idea they were talking about the machines in the workshop, but the specifics went right over my head. Or maybe selling the workshop? Business. Probably buying replacements for the old machines while it's not so busy. But only a few days after we reached that conclusion, our housekeeper told me she'd be leaving the job. Apparently, Mom told her she'd be able to handle the chores by herself again. What? It was nice that my parents were getting less busy, and that Mom would be looking after the house again, but at the time my mind was so full of anxious thoughts of Yukun that I couldn't manage to feel happy about anything else. Lately, he'd been showing up at the playground a lot less frequently. Oh, yeah, it might be no Kazuki now. So he's probably getting, like, beaten at home and stuff because terrible father. Uh-oh, they're playing the serious music. Reserved for bad moments in the flashback when bad things will happen. Sorry, I've got something I have to do today. I have to head home now. Man, I don't think I can come tomorrow. But I'll play with you the day after that, okay? Oh no, yeah. That's when he never showed up. Yeah, sure. Bye, Sachan. Our meetings slowly grew fewer and further between. Oh wait, no, not yet, okay. The loneliness reminded me of the painful days when my parents had first begun ignoring me in favor of their job. Watching helplessly as Yukun trudged away, my mind turned with sadness and fear. At this rate, Yukun's going to leave me too. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Couldn't let that happen again. I couldn't let another person I love abandon me. This time I had to stop it somehow. Next time I saw Yukun, I decided to use my birthday as an excuse to coax him into spending more time with me. Oh. Tried to get him. Oh, did she get stood up on her birthday? Oh my god. Oh, really? Actually, I probably won't be able to play with you for a while, Sachan. Oh, bunch of stuff happened at home. I think it's going to be hard for me to get outside from now on. Yes, bad things been happening, man. Turns out there isn't any such thing as God. Oh, yep, Kazuki's gone. Yeah. Nobody's gonna protect me anymore. Probably won't be able to play in the park like this again. Oh, yep, no Kazuki. Bad things are gonna happen. I'm sorry. I know I should have told you sooner, but Sachan, you always look forward to playing with me. I didn't want to make you sad.
Ryukun.
But vanishing suddenly without telling you would be even worse. So today I came to say goodbye.
じゃあ、Ryukunとはもう会えないの?
Oh no! I don't know for sure, but it's definitely possible.
そんな。
I snuck out of the house today, so I have to get back before Dad notices. Yup, his dad's beating him. Or probably a combination of beating him and going, "Why aren't you asking this Kosuke?" Blah 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 blah. God damn it.
ねえ、明日は私の誕生日なんだよ。
Aw, Sachi's so sad. She's gonna lose the love of her life. I'm sorry I can't celebrate it with you, Sachan. Okay, I'm gonna go now.
待って、
Sachi, see, and Sachi even kind of like instinctually knows this might really be goodbye forever, which is true because she got those 3 endings where you know, she didn't get him. Hey, how's it going, Shade? Welcome.
どうしてもう一緒に遊べないの?
It's not you, Sachi. It's me. I'm going through a lot. You know, I'm gonna murder my dad, and mom's gonna commit suicide, and my life's gonna go to utter hell. Wait, what?
私そんなのやだよ。せっかく仲良くなれて、これからもっともっとゆうくんと遊べると思ったのに。それなのに、突然お別れしなきゃいけないなんて。
Sachi, it's gonna miss you.
私、明日も待ってるから。ゆうくんが来てくれるまで、絶対、いつもの場所で待ってるから。
Oh my god, she even says it. The usual place. Itsumo no basho. As Yukon slowly walked away for the very last time, I yelled at the top of my lungs, more loudly and more desperately than I ever had before in my entire life. But he never paused. He never turned back. Oh, it takes a year? Oh, okay, so his home life cuts. Oh, yeah, that's right. His home life has to get a lot worse. That's right. Yukon's leaving me. Maybe I was right. Maybe everyone I love abandons me. Paralyzed by miserable self-pity, I couldn't even chase after him. For a long time after that abrupt farewell, I could only stand stock still at the entrance of the park, wallowing in confusion and pain. And on the morning of my 10th birthday, rubbing my red, swollen eyes as I crawled out of bed, I immediately realized that something was different. For one thing, I couldn't hear the droning of the machines that had been running from the early morning hours for months now. Oh. For another, the smell of fresh miso soup was wafting through the air from the kitchen. Could that be Mom cooking? What about work? Still half asleep and completely nonplussed, I wandered over to the living room where an unexpected sight was waiting for me.
Ohayo, Sachi.
Oh my god! It's Daddy! Oh my god, it's Mommy! Mom and Dad were sitting next to each other on the far side of the table, almost as if they'd been waiting for me to wake up. After greeting me, they waited with gentle smiles for my answer. It almost felt like I was reliving a memory from the days before they become so busy. The sheer surprise was such that it took me a moment to find a response. She's like, what? Oh my god, they actually remembered. They're like, oh, she's like, oh. She got used to this life, man.
そうだな。自分たちのしてきたことを考えれば、サチが驚くのも無理はないか。
今までが今まででしたからね。
Oh, something's changing? Two of them smiled sadly at each other, then turned right back to me.
あのね、サチ。今日はサチの誕生日だから、お仕事はお休みにしたの。
Oh, snap!
今まで寂しい思いをさせてしまった分のお礼を返上させてもらおうと思ってな。
Oh, are they scaling back everything?
夜になってケーキを食べながら誕生日をお祝いするまで、今日はサチと一緒に遊ぼうと決めた。
Sachi said, I can't believe it. The words coming out of their mouths were exactly what I've been longing desperately to hear for so many months. Felt so much like a dream that I very nearly pinched myself. Mom and Dad would be at my side again, like they used to be. Just like when every day was full of happiness, we could play together as a family once more. That was what I'd wanted all along. Even while I was playing with Yukun, I daydreamed countless times about this very moment. And now it was real. Parents were giving me the gentle, caring words I longed to hear. My heart should have been bursting with joy. And yet what I felt instead was dark, intense anger. As though a hidden flame, long smoldering in some hidden cranny of my mind, had found the oxygen it needed to burst into a blazing wildfire. I'm surprised that you know about that, Sachi. Oh, no matter how hard I tried, they completely ignored me. Why now all of a sudden? Do they seriously think taking one day off of work is going to make me forget how sad I've been all this time? Good luck with that! Oh. Yukon took their place, but now even he's gone. So why? Why now? Why do they think they can just... Cold black bitterness spreading through my body. I lifted my head to give my parents their answer. Oh no, Sachi. Oh no. Sachi went to the dark side, guys.
私は一人でも平気だし、お父さんとお母さんが大好きなお仕事を休んでもらってまで一緒にいてもらおうなんて思わない。
Yep, she went to the dark side, guys.
そんなに私の誕生日がお祝いしたいなら、二人だけでやればいいんだよ。
The instant those sulky words left my mouth, I bolted out of the living room.
Sachi!
No, she's going to darkness.
待って、Sachi!
She needs some Kingdom Hearts in her life, guys. They called out to me from behind, but I just kept running out the door, away from our house. Not that I was headed anywhere in particular. Anywhere would be fine, as long as Mom and Dad weren't there. I didn't want to see their faces. I didn't want to hear their voices. Aw, man. I ran as fast as my legs could carry me, my hands clenched tightly into fists, biting my lower lip until the sickening taste of iron filled my mouth. As I fled, the only thing in my mind was anger at my parents. Looking back on it now, it wasn't much more than an irrational outburst of pent-up emotion. But still, rather than feeling happy at their promise to celebrate my birthday together, I was outraged that my parents were wrapping up all the sadness and pain I felt for so long into those bland words about feeling lonely. And in the end, my blind, aimless flight carried me to that familiar playground. I hadn't consciously thought about making my way here. If anything, I was intentionally trying to stay away from the area close to my home. At some point, I definitely passed a hospital much further away than this place. Even so, some unconscious part of my mind had guided me to this destination. Aww. The impact of the previous day's events must have been just that strong. I couldn't simply accept that unbelievably abrupt goodbye. As Yukon left, I had screamed that I'd be waiting for him today. If I forced a one-sided promise on him, maybe he'd slip out of his house to see me. That selfish, childish hope was still alive inside me. Wiping the sweat from my forehead, I looked up to the tall clock tower nearby. It's a little past 10 in the morning. Yukon always came to the playground about 1:30 on weekends. I decided I might as well start waiting now. That way I'd be here even if Yukon came early. If Mom and Dad showed up, I could always just run away again. Evil Sachi. Trying to disguise the pain and anxiety growing inside me, I forced myself to believe in their spur-of-the-moment plan. And she waited on his swing forever. Walked over to the swing set where the two of us had always sat side by side, and settled into my seat. The day before, I told Yukon I would wait for him in this park. It wasn't like he promised to come play with me. He hadn't even responded to my words. There was no guarantee Yukon would come to this park. Still, I had absolute faith that he showed up eventually. I was pretty confident I could wait patiently until then. But as the clock's hour's hand made its way past the 5 and my vigil approached its 8th hour, even that childish confidence began to waver. Sad Sachi is heartbreaking. She's probably like, I wish I told him how I really felt. The playground that had always felt too small for us suddenly seemed an unbelievably large and empty place. You couldn't have told me clearly enough that you couldn't play with me anymore. That even getting outside would be difficult from now on. Could you even make it to the park if you wanted to? Having regained the ability to think rationally with the passage of time, my mind ruthlessly chipped away at my unfounded confidence. And finally I arrived at the realization that I backed myself into a miserable corner. Aww. Yeah, it is lolly, Sachi. Once that timid thought passed through my mind, it's only a matter of time. Painful emotions that had been covering up my anger came bubbling back up to the surface. I was really mean to Mom and Dad again. They were going to play with me, and I ruined everything. This isn't any different from last year. Well, they made a separate promise, King. So, even if I go home tonight, my birthday's just going to be Mom and Dad yelling at me. With each thought, the anxiety and regret swelled up uncontrollably inside me. Before I knew it, fat tears were running down my cheeks.
Sachi.
When I squeezed my eyes closed to shut out the world, I saw my parents in my mind's eye, their faces gentle and kind. No matter how lonely they made me, no matter how much I tried to hate them for it, in the end I still loved them both very much.
Sachi!
And the moment I finally understood, I thought I could hear those same familiar words, same familiar voices. Not my memories, but somewhere nearby. And to be fair, Sachi is technically not saved yet. She's still messed up in the head. Sachi! I think we're gonna find out why though, because clearly her parents are dead in the future, or in the present day, and they're alive right now still. I raised my head with a jerk, indifferent now to the tears that continued to pour from my eyes. Inside the park, just on the other side of the road, I saw my mom and dad. And from a distance, I could tell they were covered in sweat, that they'd been desperately searching for me. Ah, Mom and Dad are still Mom and Dad, after all. People I love most in the whole world. I should have known that all along. Why couldn't I have accepted them from the start? No, there was no longer any point in even thinking about it. I was wrong. Now all I had to do was apologize. All I had to do was jump into their arms and yell, "I'm sorry for being so selfish." And then a car just comes and kills him, right? Once the two of them noticed my presence, their expressions instantly melted with relief. Dashed out of the park, overwhelmed with happiness, and I heard a sudden roar of displaced air, like the sound of a furious foot. Really? The next instant, the world before me was filled with a colossal jet black blur. I heard the sound of something colliding with something else, then screeching to a halt nearby. I reflexively squeezed my eyes shut. When I timidly opened them, I was greeted with the unimaginable. Mom and Dad were stretched out flat on the road's surface, almost as if sleeping face down. Up there's Sachi looking kind of horrified. Dad didn't even stir, a machine with a dead battery. Mom twitched convulsively again and again, a broken toy. The blood pooling under their bodies crept slowly across the orange-tinted asphalt, dyeing the road a dusky red. Yup. Vehicles equal the enemy of the Grisaia girls? God damn it! It's always cars! Those agonized groans, so totally unlike any other sound I ever heard my mother make, filled me with terror too pure and primal to express in words. My ears had begun to ring, as if to drown out the unpleasant sound of the truck's engine idling nearby. With every moment that passed, my breaths came faster and faster. I couldn't fully grasp what had just happened before my eyes, but instinctively I understood that it was something so awful as to wipe everything that had come before into complete irrelevance. Yeah, Sachi is just not having a good time on her 10th birthday, man. What do I do? What do I do? Right, I've got to call for help. Times like these, call 911 first. Well, you know, the Japanese equivalent. My mind was still capable of thinking about what I should do next. And yet my body was frozen on the spot, as if physically rejecting the incomprehensible situation before me. Oh no. At the sound of my name, I turned my eyes back to the ground. My mother is dragging herself slowly across the road toward me, desperately trying to communicate something. Sight instantly reduced me to a panic frenzy. All I could do now was shriek her name, which is clearly Mommy. Lifting her trembling upper body ever so slightly off the ground, she slowly raised her face and then...
Sachi.
And then she spoke those words. Oh, she misunderstood those. The instant I thought I could hear something snap inside me. As my body began to quiver uncontrollably, the world was covered in a black shroud. The split second after the buzzing drone inside my head finally went silent, lost consciousness entirely. Apparently a local passerby quickly reported the incident. It wasn't long before the ambulances carried us away. Not that I remember any of that. When I opened my eyes for the next time, a full day had passed. I was lying in a colorless hospital room. Uh-oh, the bad things have happened.
Sachi,
oh, it's Sachi's uncle, Mr. Sachi uncle. I heard a chair scraping against the linoleum floor nearby. When later, a familiar face appeared before me. Oh man, I didn't know Sachi's uncle was Akihiro. What? There's a lot of that's a common name, guys. That's a joke. Everything's terrible. I gingerly moved my arms and legs several times, but couldn't find anything wrong with my body. My uncle smiled broadly at my words, tears in the corners of his eyes. Still a little dopey from waking up, I felt a simple curiosity about the intense motion so evident in his face. Just like where the flashback started, right? Yeah. That's why it's PTSD, because she was reminding of the moment of her parents' death. When I put the question into words, my uncle averted his eyes, his expression filled with reluctance and pain. They're dead! They're dead! They're dead! As I dully repeated my uncle's words, a memory that had slipped cleanly from my mind slowly reemerged. Small park died in the light of the evening sun. The smell of burning rubber, the sound of a truck idling. And finally, Mom and Dad lying in pools of their own blood. The scene flashed before my eyes in perfect clarity. Reflexively, I tried to look away, but there was no escape. And the next moment, my ears were filled with that awful droning buzz. Uh-oh.
Sachi.
It's like, oh no, nurse! Field of vision grew slowly narrower, and a choking sense of paralysis spread throughout my body. Felt as though my body temperature had suddenly plunged. A violent wave of nausea and a splitting headache attacked me all at once.
Oi, Sachi, 大丈夫か? Sachi!
This is like a full-on panic attack. This is not PTSD yet.
先生、サチが目を覚ましたんですが、急に苦しみ出して。
As the world grew dim before my eyes, I could vaguely make out my uncle shouting desperately for someone's attention. Wait, now I can't see or hear anything. Oh, guess I'm fainting again. The instant the thought ran through my head, I plunged into nothingness. And the flashback in the hospital continues. It would be a full 3 days before I woke up again. When the nurse noticed my eyes were open, she immediately called the doctor in charge, conducted a quick examination on the spot. But determining that I wasn't so severely impaired as to cause difficulties in ordinary conversation, the doctor began to explain many things to me. Uncle Akihiro, who came running over to the hospital, soon joined in as well. That day, Mom and Dad had been in a traffic accident right before my eyes. Just as I ran out toward them, a truck with a drunk driver behind the wheel had barreled through the intersection, ignoring a red light. Hit head-on by the massive vehicle, which had been traveling at 60 kilometers an hour or more, Dad died instantly from massive blunt force trauma. Mom had miraculously survived, but at the moment she was still unconscious, fighting for her life in critical condition. When I learned all this, I didn't cry and grieve, and I didn't explode with anger against the man who caused the accident. The words the doctor used were really hard to understand, so a lot of the conversation went over my head. I probably had something to do with it. More than anything else, nothing about this situation felt remotely real to me. Hey, at least she won't ever become an alcoholic. Oh man, shade. At least she won't ever drink and drive, right? That night, finally alone in my darkened hospital room, I flexed my legs and arms thoughtfully. No matter how many times I tested it, my body didn't feel injured. I moved just as freely and easily as before. And maybe Dad was dead. Maybe Mom was lying unconscious somewhere in this hospital, but I hadn't seen either of them yet. So maybe everyone telling me about this accident was just lying. Maybe if I were to get up out of bed and head straight home, my parents would be waiting for me there. My thoughts persistently returned to these comforting paper-thin theories. Doctors never lie. What? I mean, that's what happens sometimes when you're passing out. I'm fainting. More importantly, in the depths of my mind, a clear memory remained. That will cause constant panics. The drunk driver was Yuji's dad. Well, it probably isn't, because the guy probably stuck around and got arrested and stuff. The instant my thoughts brushed against that fragment of the past, I could hear my heart throb violently in my chest. Now, what if the drunk driver was the basketball captain's father? And this was one of the things that caused his descent into, falling into, basically despair. This time, the shrill buzzing that accompanied the similar incident 3 days earlier was conspicuously absent. In exchange, the most severe headache of my life fell upon me with all the suddenness and force of an avalanche. Sharp bursts of pain, as if my body was warning me not to touch an open wound, robbed me of the will to think. I'll just stop trying. I'm sick of fainting. Dang, girl. As soon as I emptied my mind, the headache vanished with astonishing speed. My breaths came easier, and I could feel my heartbeat gradually returning to its normal rhythm. That's not how killing innocents works and driving works, King. There's something wrong with my body after all. Nothing like this ever happened to me before that day. As my mind began to reach a conclusion I didn't want to accept, I involuntarily recalled the agony I just endured. If I remember what happened, that pain will come back. The ensuing wave of terror wiped all else from my mind. Pulling the blankets over my head in search of refuge, waited for the morning to come. And it came. It's actually now 3:27. Did that accident they keep talking about really happen? Several days later, that disbelief still lingering in my mind, I was taken to visit my mom in the intensive care unit for the first time. After carefully disinfecting my hands with alcohol, nurses dressed me up in a hospital gown just like theirs. Then finally ushered me into the room. Just like they told me, my mother was inside. But the person lying on the bed in front of me wasn't the mom I knew. There was a huge oxygen mask covering her mouth. Bandages were wrapped around her head. Numerous tubes were sticking out of her body, connecting her to all sorts of machines. The sight reminded me of nothing so much as the Frankenstein monsters I'd seen in movies. But this was reality. That day, the accident happened exactly as he told me. My mom was sleeping in a nest of machines. In the instant I finally perceived that undeniable fact as reality, I was struck by a powerful wave of nausea. The hospital room grew dark before me, and in that darkness a fuzzy image flickered before my eyes, disappearing for the briefest of moments only to re-emerge, like some pale indistinct horror, bobbing up and down just beneath the surface of a muddy lake. Unable to endure the sickness swelling up from the core of my body, I found up the contents of my stomach on the spot and was hastily carried out of the room by the nurse who accompanied me. After that, I tried to return to the ICU numerous times, but the outcome was always the same. The moment I saw my mother in her hospital bed, I experienced severe nausea and was quickly removed from the room. The doctor took these events very seriously and eventually forbade me from visiting mom for the time being. Forbid me. They used the wrong tense for forbade. Forbid. That night I laid awake in bed until well after the lights had been turned out, unable to fall asleep. I hadn't suffered any real injury. Sitting around all day often left me with too much physical energy. Sometimes I would go an entire day without feeling hungry, or lie awake in bed for hours. Today, the things I heard during the daytime were also weighing heavily on my mind. I lay in my bed, staring up at the now familiar tiles on the ceiling, and thought about my parents. Oh. She might never open her eyes again. Sometimes I overhear my uncle talking about it with the nurses in lower tones. Apparently mom was sick with something called a persistent vegetative state. From what I could figure out, that meant the possibility she'd wake up again was really, really low. Sachi's mom wakes up and becomes Venom Snake? No, she becomes Bane because she's connected tubes and stuff. Mom's going to be asleep forever and ever. In other words, I'd never be able to talk to her again. Bitter frustration welled up inside me at the thought. This is probably when Sachi's gonna finally come up with her defense mechanism, right? Where she's gonna put everything in black and white, good and bad. No matter how I tried to deny the reality, nothing would change. She gets a cool bionic arm? That's fair. If my parents' job would no longer keep us apart, the blissful days I'd wished for would never return. The more I understood the situation, the heavier my despair grew. Tears spilled relentlessly from my eyes. My mind was filled with a miserable new question. Why? Why had it turned out like this? Happy birthday. Like Sachi cries every birthday. People find wolves in Afghanistan. Clearly go to Afghanistan and find wolves. But in reality, I hadn't been able to see him. And because of that sudden accident, Dad was dead and Mom was sleeping forever. Everything I loved had been taken from me in one horrible instant. She doesn't like it. When I squeezed my eyes shut in an attempt to escape the cruel reality of my situation, I thought I heard someone's voice in my mind.
Sachi.
Uh-oh. This is the mom, the guilt trip mom from the panic and the stress. That's not what she wanted to say by why. Oh, I thought they were giving her like dead fish eyes. Oh, she doesn't look like evil and stuff in her head. Probably because oh, actually no, it makes sense because Sachi probably doesn't see her parents as evil Because it eventually ends with Sachi's thinking, "Oh, I'm a bad person, so now and that's why this happened to me." Right?
Yeah.
And she goes, "And my parents are good people." Since the day I accepted that the accident had really happened, these feelings have been lurking unacknowledged in the depths of my mind. The accident happened because of me. If I had listened to my parents and stayed in the house, they wouldn't have been in the street when that truck ran the red light. Even you couldn't. I selfishly tried to manipulate him into coming to the park. Maybe that's why he didn't show up. Maybe he just finally got sick of me. In other words... Deep breaths, King. Deep breaths. As I spoke those words, the ringing in my ears returned for the first time in a while, harsher and shriller than ever before. A dull paralysis spread through my body, very similar to what I used to experience before fainting from overexertion on the playground. But the venomous chill crawling up my spine clearly signified that this was something else entirely. Something shadowy, unfamiliar, and malevolent was attacking my body. My head thumped violently in my chest, and at that moment the world froze around me. The air wasn't cold, it was solid ice, so frigid as to cause physical pain. My clenched teeth began to chatter loudly. My mouth opened wide, I desperately gulped down oxygen in little gasps, every breath a painful struggle. I was wrong, and something even worse is coming next. The voice rang out in my mind again, as I knew it would.
Sachi, どうして?
And then the game just kind of sat there for a while, and I went, "Hello? Hello? Okay. Okay, we're not frozen. Oh, there's a little enter side, okay. There you go. And so the nightmares began. Oh, snap.
どう? さっちゃん、今日は食べられる? ごめんなさい。食べられません。そう。
They're just like, "Damn, girl, you okay?" 2 weeks after that horrible night, it had become my daily routine to turn aside the spoonfuls of food my nurses had offered me. At night, when exhaustion overcame me, I was forced to relive the moments of my parents' accident over and over again. By now, I had completely lost the will to live. The nightmares didn't just play back my memories of that day. It caused me physical agony incomparable to any suffering I endured while awake. My appetite disappeared in a matter of days, and of course, couldn't get any real rest. For about a week, my body had grown visibly frail. My natural energy was replaced with lethargy and weakness. 2 days after, a concerned nurse reported the situation to my doctor. She came to my bedside and asked me about a bunch of things. Can you hear voices from nowhere in particular? Can you see people who can't really be there? I'm pretty sure the questions were mostly like that. And for my answers, it took the doctor no time at all to announce I was suffering from a specific illness. To summarize it in his words, mental illness caused by temporary exposure to catastrophically intense stress. That diagnosis became clear that I had suffered my own wound in that accident. My previously scheduled discharge from the hospital was postponed indefinitely. 2 plus 2 equals 7? 2 plus 2 equals 7? No. 2 plus 2 equals 2 plus 2. Not that my stay had produced any improvement so far. If anything, it was the opposite. The nightmares still tormented me relentlessly, and my treatment had progressed to medication on the IV tube. Through the tube, the nutrients I needed to survive were pumped directly into my veins. Through powerful sleeping pills, they induced temporary periods of oblivious rest. It felt less like I was living and more like I was being kept alive. One day, the stagnant routine was disrupted slightly. I learned that I had been given permission for an outing as part of a new phase of my treatment. Let's walk right by where the accident happened. What? I was given permission to leave the hospital, escorted by one of the nurses, on the condition that we stayed well away from both my house and the site of the accident. Okay, good. Good! Good! Just all the neighborhoods look familiar, alright? No particular destination in my mind. We walked aimlessly around the town. Unlike the hospital, which was constantly filled with a sterile antiseptic scent, town smelled of the season, of people living their ordinary lives. In the distance, I could hear the chattering of grade schoolers on their way home. For the first time in weeks, I wondered vaguely how my friends at school were doing. Change of pace wasn't unpleasant, but my feelings were as dark and clouded as ever. I knew all too well that the physical relief of this moment was only temporary. Unless the doctor drugged me into unconsciousness, I'd see that dream again. The moment of the accident would flash before my eyes over and over. My body would react as if it were reality twitching in my bed. If I wept in the dream, I woke up with my eyes swollen and red. If I screamed stop in the dream, I woke up with my throat rubbed raw. Worst of all, when the loop finally came to an end, my parents would raise their blood-covered faces from the road and curse me. An incessant, bitter rain of hateful words from which I was powerless to escape. Dad died instantly, and Mom lost consciousness soon after the accident. That last part of the dream was fake. I did understand the rationale. I did understand that rationally. Every morning I woke to find the burden of guilt resting slightly heavier on my mind. The border between reality and that cruel fiction grew indistinct. It felt entirely possible that horrible nightmare would stay with me for the rest of my life. And so far it did. I had committed the sin of disobedience. That dream was my punishment for treating my parents cruelly when they tried to celebrate my birthday with me. Yep, she's gonna come to the conclusion, right? Didn't matter how many times I apologized in my dreams. Didn't matter how much suffering those nightmares brought me. This guilt wouldn't simply disappear. It had already grown very nearly unendurable. My heart and mind were on the verge of breaking outright, and still I couldn't find anything close to an answer. And as I whispered that plea to myself, I noticed a parent and child walking slowly down the sidewalk toward us. Mother, her face clearly troubled, and her young son yanking rudely at her hands.
Hey, Mama! Katsumanの人形買ってよ! だから、お人形はこの前買ったばかりでしょ? ああ、それでもカツオマンが欲しいの。ささみ怪人と戦わせるんだもん。もう、またそんなわがままを言って。いつまでも悪い子でいると、みんなマサヤのことが嫌いになって誰もいなくなっちゃうわよ。
Oh, yep. The moment I heard those words, it was as though an icy hand had seized my heart.
やだ、そんなのやだよ。じゃあ、お人形は我慢しないとね。わかった。そうやってマサヤがいい子でいてくれれば、お人形もまた買ってあげるからね。
Is it Messiah from like a different game? I'm kidding, guys. That's also a common name, right? The mother and child passed by my side, their expressions completely transformed into smiles. And Sachi now transformed.
そうだったんだ。こうなってしまったのはやっぱり私のせい。私が言うことを聞かない悪い子だったからあんなことが起こった。お父さんもお母さんもゆうくんもみんな私の前からいなくなったんだ。
Also doesn't help that the moment she became like the super maid, Yuji came back to her life at some point. I muttered those words under my breath, as if to persuade myself they were true, and the next moment I thought I could hear a switch being flipped inside my head. After that episode, my body underwent a mysterious change. I went to bed that night without any sleeping pills, but nonetheless reached morning without seeing the nightmare. Since the dreams began, falling asleep without medication had always meant a night of terrible suffering. This sudden exception to the rule surprised me greatly. And yep, but I didn't really have any idea why the nightmares would have stopped all of a sudden. Maybe I had just happened to pull the lucky straw this once. As it turned out, however, these worries were unjustified. Nightmares grew steadily less frequent, and my physical condition improved as well. Serving these changes happily, a nurse told me to keep it up, don't let those bad dreams come back. By way of encouragement, I promptly focused on engraving those words into my mind. Yep. Every time I whispered the mantra to myself, a voice rang out in my head. You mustn't be disobedient. A good girl does what she's told. A bad girl doesn't. And when the voice fell silent, that scene flashed through my mind for the briefest of instants, as a warning, a reminder. I never, ever wanted to feel that way again, so I was determined to become a good girl. If I'm a good girl, I won't lose anything. If I'm a good girl, maybe Mommy and Daddy will forgive me someday. Over time, my mind was filled with those words. So when asked me to finish my dinner, I cleaned my plate, even if it meant fighting back nausea, stuffing food into my stomach. For long, I was even capable of willing myself into unconsciousness if someone told me to go to sleep right away after lights out. Whenever I said those words and nodded my assent, the nurses called me a good girl, with smiles on their faces. Yup, the transformation has now begun. Or now has happened. Whenever I heard that phrase, I could feel my sin growing ever so slightly lighter, my sense of self ever so slightly weaker. It took some time afterward, but eventually I was discharged from the hospital, conditional on my return for thorough regular checkups. The reason, naturally, was that my painful nightmares had grown extremely rare. My sleep and eating habits had returned to normal, quote-unquote. The rapid and dramatic improvement in my symptoms did quite surprise my doctor and nurses, but I'm fairly sure the adults convinced themselves my little trip outside the hospital for a change of pace has simply succeeded beyond their expectations. However, the doctors did think it best for me to leave my hometown and the many painful memories it held behind. It was decided that I would live with my uncle Akihiro and his wife at their home in Niigata. I never visited my uncle's house even once until the day I moved there, but I didn't feel any anxiety about my new life in a new land. I did know that my uncle and auntie were kind people, and above all else, I had a clearly defined path to follow. No matter what my circumstances, I was determined to be a good girl. Yeah, I know, right? Everything looks the same! After all, my new conviction had virtually cured me of those unendurable nightmares. Since Uncle Akihiro was kind enough to carefully prepare everything beforehand, the move went off without a hitch. It was decided that I transfer into a nearby school after my first week in Niigata. As it turned out, it was a modestly sized school, with a fairly small student body. I was the first transfer student in recent memory, and received a significant amount of curious gazes as a result. I heard she got caught up in something nasty. Didn't somebody say she got bullied really badly at her last school? At times I heard such rumors whispered in the hallways. Not that any of it bothered me in the slightest. I was entirely focused on making up for the time I'd lost in the hospital. I hadn't even touched a textbook for some time. A good girl does well in school, so as to keep myself from diverging with that image, I threw myself fervently into my classes, filling every waking moment with study and regretting the need to sleep. Anytime. And in that school again, right? Over time, my diligent new approach to life changed the way my classmates viewed me. By the time we advanced to the next grade, many looked at me with respect in their eyes. In addition, on the theory that a good girl helps others, I would proactively approach those who seemed troubled and offer my assistance. Just by chasing after my ideal in this way, at some point a crowd gathered around me. As in my previous school, everyone in the class started calling me Sachan, and made lots of friends who would invite me out to play. My uncle, who'd been worried about how I adapt to living in the country, was very pleased by all this, and my teachers offered consistent praise for my efforts in the classroom and helpful attitude. The harder I tried, the nicer everyone was, and I tried very hard indeed. The compliments and smiling faces remind me of the happiest days of my life, when my parents had been kind to me, grew steadily more convinced that my new way of thinking was correct. But such universal, unreserved affection for good people doesn't last beyond childhood. As if to warn me of that fact, when I advanced to the next level of school, I found the emotionally charged malice of characteristic of adolescence waiting for me. Uh-oh, what happened? After a few months, I'd gotten thoroughly settled in at my new school. Once again, I attracted a crowd of friendly faces. For the most part, they asked me to see my homework, for assistance in some extracurricular activity, or help with their studies. And as I reliably satisfied these requests, the number of people who approached me steadily increased. Apparently there's this super talented saint in Class 1C. Such rumors spread across the school, and I became something of a minor celebrity. And in time, I began to encounter those who found that irksome. Among them a girl named Hitomi Nakano from my class. Most labeled her a delinquent, and she kept herself largely aloof from the rest of the class, so it came as something of a surprise when one day she suddenly called out to me. Began with that trivial favor, no different from those I performed for countless others. Hitomi Nakano repeated that request every time it was her turn to clean the classroom. Of course, I continued to readily accept. And one day after this pattern continued for some time. The maid is born. Not yet. She's not full maid yet. I mean, that's not wrong, Sachi. Oh. Oh.
じゃあ何？あんた、私が永遠に掃除当番変われって言ったら変わってくれるわけ？
中野さんがそう言うならそうするよ。
へえ、言うじゃん。じゃあさ、掃除当番は変わらなくていいから一人でこの学校の窓全部拭いて回ってみてよ。どう？できないでしょ。
いいよ。
Although I accepted Nakano-san's request, she didn't seem particularly pleased. In fact, she clicked her tongue in disgust and stalked right out of the classroom. What was she so angry about? Thinking the matter over, I took out a supply of cleaning implements from my locker. And just as directed, I made my way around the school cleaning the windows. After a classroom, I moved on to the other first-year rooms, the hallway, and the faculty room, making steady progress. Once the school building was closed, however, my pace was slowed somewhat by the need to hide from the patrolling teachers. Nonetheless, I persevered at my task. Even after the sun fell, I continued wiping in dogged silence. My arms quickly grew heavy from the sustained effort of reaching up to clean the higher windows. After a few hours, my shoulders were screaming with pain. Even so, I kept my hands moving. I had my directions, and I had to obey them. My personal circumstances were irrelevant. My body might ache or suffer injury, but neither mattered so long as it could move. If movement were to become impossible, I would simply reassess the situation and attempt to find an alternative means to accomplish my task. At the moment, wiping all the windows in the school clean took priority above all else. When she found me in the hallway the next morning, still wiping windows, Tomi Nakano's jaw dropped open.
あんた、何やってるの？
何って言われた通りに窓を拭いてるんだけど。
言われた通りにって、まさか本当にあれからずっと学校の窓を拭いてたわけ？
さすがに学校が広いから今日の授業が始まるまでにっていうのは無理だったけど、もう少し時間をもらえればちゃんと終わるから。
For a brief moment, her eyes went wide, and the next she roared with laughter.
あんた間違いなくいい子だよ。それは私が保証してあげる。
ありがとう。
お礼まで言って。こいつ本物だわ。傑作。小峰、窓拭きはここで終わりでいいわよ。
そうなの？
ええ。その代わり、今日からあんたは私の奴隷になりなさい。
うん、わかった。
やっぱりね。
Uh-oh.
じゃあ、これから私に対しては敬語を使うこと。
I think this is what's gonna make the maid be
そ
born.
れから、私が何か命令をした時の返事は、はい、わかりました。いい？わかった？
Yup.
はい、わかりました。
Yup, here's the maid.
そうそう、それでいいじゃん。えらいえらい。
ありがとうございます。
I didn't particularly hesitate at the prospect of becoming a slave. That was what she wanted from me. If it was within my power to play that role, I had no reason to object. And so, having assumed the position of Hitomi Nakano's obedient minion, carrying out her orders became the central element of my new daily routine.
小峰、あとはよろしくね。
はい、わかりました。
I can't quite remember how many times we repeated this exchange. Happened too often for me to be sure. My more common duties involved completing her homework by proxy, helping her cheat on tests, and arranging cruel pranks against those she disliked. There were other requests as well. Every once in a while she called for me in the middle of the night simply to mock me for actually showing up. After laughing with her friends, she would send me right back home. That was alright with me. I was her slave, so all I needed to concern myself with was executing her commands. No matter how difficult the orders she gave me, through careful thought and diligent effort, I would always find a method of carrying them out. When I succeeded, her mood would often improve. On occasion, she even offered a few words of praise for her good girl. But more than anything else, simply obeying someone's instructions was pleasant in itself. While executing her orders, there was no need to think about anything else. The reason for those orders, the consequences of successfully carrying them out, anything and everything else was totally irrelevant. Those moments and those moments alone, the burden of guilt I carried with me was lifted from my shoulders. The image I wanted to erase from my mind more than anything else stayed safely buried away. Therefore, there was nothing wrong about this. A good girl does what she's told. I believed absolutely in those words. For me, they had become a kind of faith. However, not everyone saw things the same way. After about 2 years as her slave, my master began to show some signs of discontentment with our arrangement. When I answered her orders with a prompt, "Hai, wakarimashita," and a nod, I could see a flash of irritation in her eyes. Perhaps as a result, I soon noticed that those orders had begun to escalate in scale and difficulty. When I returned to report my success, she'd respond only with a displeased grunt. Eventually, I asked whether I had done something to offend her.
何でもできることがムカつく。
And that was her admittedly rather irrational answer. Naturally, I then inquired whether I should fail every so often, but
はあ？あんた私のことバカにしてんの？
this inspired only a more pronounced scowl.
でも失敗させてみるっていうのも悪くないわよね。
Alright. See you, Shade.
じゃあさ、あんたに最後の命令を出してあげる。
最後の命令？
そう。2週間後にある中間テスト。あれ、なくしてよ。
テスト？
人の言うことを聞くのがいい子だって言うなら、こういうお願いも聞いてくれるよね。どうなの？やれるの？
I can already see the Sachi made the Sachi thinking pose.
はい、私はいい子ですから。
言ったわね。いい？一度やるって言ったんだから絶対やんなさいよ。後で やっぱりできませんでした、すみませんって謝ってきても私は絶対に許さないからね。
はい、わかりました。
From the moment I nodded my head, it was perhaps all but decided that I would end up in Mihama Academy. When she asked me if I was up for it, I heard a voice screaming "Don't" for some quarter on my mind. But soon enough, as the image of that day began to flicker its own warning before my eyes, that voice of caution was obliterated without a trace. There was nothing left to stop me. For the next few days, I frantically racked my brains in search of a method to get rid of the scheduled midterm tests. How about stealing the tests before they can copy them? No, even if I were to find the originals, the tests would be recreated. At most, I would earn a brief delay. In that case, how about copying the test secretly and bringing her the answers? No, while that might ensure her a perfect score on her exams, the tests themselves would be held as usual.
どうすればいい？どうすればテストをなくすことができるの？
The more ideas I ran through, the more I realized the enormous difficulty of the task at hand. My focus grew slowly more intense and obsessive. Thoughts ran in circles. To make matters worse, as the day of the test grew inexorably closer, I began to see the familiar nightmares I had thought behind me. And so, driven slowly but surely into desperation, finally I arrived at my conclusion.
だったら学校をなくしちゃえばいいんだ。
Yeah, you don't need no tests if there's no school.
学校がなくなってしまえば、テストも授業も全部なくなってしまう。
The moment I spoke those words, my ears filled with a high-pitched, almost nostalgic buzzing, and my consciousness was shrouded in fog. When I came to my senses, I was standing inside my school. At my feet were a pile of kerosene cans, same sort my uncle stockpiled as fuel for our heaters. Presumably I had carried them from my house to this building over the course of numerous round trips. And indeed, my arms and shoulders were throbbing with agony. The situation was clear enough. Moving as though possessed, I emptied the cans all around the building in what felt like minutes. Ignoring the protests of my exhausted body, in the end I stood in my classroom and set the fire. Wow! The inside I dropped my match into the kerosene. Flames sprouted up as though I'd flipped the switch on the stovetop. The fire spread rapidly down the fuse of oil and into the hallway. The blink of an eye, the fire spread and grew, feeding off the wooden walls and desks, consuming the paper textbooks and cloth bags my classmates had left behind. Flames danced before my eyes. Even from a distance, I felt their heat on my skin. Just as I observed that it was becoming slightly painful to breathe the heated air, the shrill sound of the fire alarm began to resound throughout the building. The classroom I had studied in only yesterday was consumed in a literal sea of fire, and yet even as a part of my world vanished before my eyes, I felt nothing in particular. Ah, look at it burn. The thoughts running through my mind were nothing but the disinterested impressions of a casual spectator. Having determined that it would be impossible to stay in this place any longer, I carefully exited the classroom through the nearest window. As I lowered myself onto the grass outside, I could hear the sound of distant sirens. How far would the flames reach before that fire engine arrived? How much damage before they could extinguish the blaze? No, it no longer mattered. The midterm exams would doubtless be cancelled regardless. I carried out my orders. I did what I was told. I was still a good girl. Yes. And as long as I'm a good girl, nothing else matters. So the bully ordered Sachi to make the midterm tests go away, to get rid of them. And so for the midterm, Sachi couldn't really think of a solution. And so since she was kind of running out of time and a little desperate, she realized that the best way to get rid of the midterms was to get rid of the school. And that's what she did. So this is Sachi's past, huh? It is. And I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, and I'll come back so we can experience more of it. I'll be right back, guys. It really was a quick bathroom break. I'm stuck on a wire. Man, and it always happens. You know, you walk away 5 minutes and all of a sudden, everything's on fire. Although the fire brigade rushed to the scene and extinguished the flames before the building could suffer much structural damage, the main classrooms were reduced to charred wrecks. As it contained the highest concentration of flammable materials in the building, the faculty room suffered particularly severe damage, and the scheduled midterm examinations had to be postponed indefinitely. Rumors that Sachi had been responsible spread quickly throughout the town, and when interviewed by the police, she immediately confessed to total responsibility for the incident. However, her motivation was unclear, and testimony from her classmates revealed that Sachi had been subjected to chronic bullying. Her confession was deemed unreliable, and suspicion came to rest on her tormentors. In the end, investigators couldn't find any decisive evidence identifying the responsible party. The arson case was closed without charges. Nonetheless, Sachi's aunt and uncle were disturbed by her confession and abnormal behavior throughout the incident. They had her receive a comprehensive psychiatric examination from a specialist, leading to a secondary diagnosis. Given her overall condition, they were told it would be ill-advised and potentially dangerous for Sachi to continue attending a normal school. Soon after, it was arranged for her to transfer to Miyahama Academy. In other words, witnessing that accident had damaged Sachi's mind far more severely than was immediately apparent. Yeah, considering she became a just yes boss kind of person, to the point where she followed through with it. Considering what I know of her current mindset, I doubt she even regards setting that fire as a mistake. Today, Sachi remains under the guardianship of her childless uncle and aunt. Her mother is still in the hospital, deep in a persistent coma. That would be a rough summary of how things currently stand. Toss the papers down onto the bench and look up into the sky. In other words, there's a lot more to Sachi than what I've seen so far. Back then, the only thing I knew was that Sachi's parents were busy with work and didn't pay much attention to her anymore. And these documents are business-like summaries pulled from Ichigaya's databases. I have the basic facts in sufficient detail to speculate. It's hardly a comprehensive story. At the moment, Sachi's probably the only person in the world who knows the precise nature of the suffering that reshaped her personality so dramatically. Even so, there's one thing I can say for certain. She suffered an incredibly cruel and abrupt loss at a young age. These 6 flimsy sheets of paper couldn't possibly have contained everything she went through.
はい、私はお父さんもお母さんも大好きでした。
The way Sachi spoke those words, I think they were absolutely true. That means she saw the people she loved most in the world fatally injured before her eyes. The reports, her parents are described as a hard-working couple who cared deeply for their daughter. Their reputation in the neighborhood was excellent. Even without knowing the details of the relationship with Sachi, it's easy to understand that losing them would have been shocking and painful under any circumstances. Yuji must feel terrible for leaving her? Well, yeah, Yuji is a man burdened by sin, so I wouldn't doubt it. What's more, it happened on her birthday. From the dates, it must have been the day after I said goodbye. At the time, my friendship with the girl on the playground became my strongest source of emotional support. The same had been true for Sachi as well. In a single day, she lost her closest family members and her closest friend. So those words she's so fond of. Good girl, bad girl. She tried to drag me to the playground with an arbitrary promise. She ran out of her house that day without listening to her parents. And all of a sudden, she found herself alone. Her thought process isn't difficult to imagine. I was a selfish bad girl, and everyone went away. From now on, I have to be a good girl and do what I'm told. Carried to an extreme, that's no different from turning yourself into an obedient, thoughtless robot. When the teachers tell her to work hard at her studies, she works hard. When some idiot tells her to wear a maid uniform, she never takes it off. Her own will and the intentions behind the orders are irrelevant. Performing them to the letter is the whole point. Doing what she's told is an end in itself. Sachi was only a child at the time. The simplistic, obsessive obedience was the sole coping method she could find. The only way she could escape her regret and guilt. No one has the right to blame her for that. Sachi stopped thinking for herself as a self-defense mechanism. Her wounds were so severe that she lost the ability to distinguish between right and wrong. That warped, absolute allegiance to her principles culminated in the school arson incident. To take the most extreme possible example, someone unambiguously orders Sachi to kill someone right now. She might commit murder without hesitation. The commandment she imposed on herself is a dangerous thing, a brittle wall as likely to harm as to protect. All things considered, I might have been lucky that it was only arson. The more people know about Sachi's abnormality, the greater the risk of someone attempting to exploit it. An event like that was all but inevitable. For the same reason, it made sense that she was transferred to this academy, with a small student body and limited contact with the outside world. The question now is whether I can actually do anything with this knowledge. I might be sitting here and analyzing other people's abnormalities, but I'm not a well-adjusted person myself, by any stretch of the imagination. Can I, of all people, help someone regain normality? If there's one thing that gives me hope, it's the expression I saw on Sachi's face back then. Thinking it over now, I'm even more firmly convinced that her smiles have always been artificial, forced things. But just that once, something was clearly different. Something that makes me think it could bring her back. Might sound like flimsy grounds for optimism, but at our first meeting, my master took one look at me and declared we can still fix this one. That's why I'm here today. Come to think of it, my master told me something once. Accepting a favor isn't anything to be ashamed of, kid, but not returning it is. There's no need to overthink this. From that perspective, it's really very simple. Back then, Sachi's presence in my life saved me. Today, I have a chance to repay the favor. It's enough for now. I'm the principal. Chizuru recognized it. She's like, oh, he's changing. Oh no! And the door opened. Oh no! It's your friend Makina! Suffering from panic attacks.
これ、うなされてるのよね。それに、すごい汗。とりあえず、起こしちゃった方がいいわね。よくわからないけど、勝手にそんなことしちゃってもいいものなの？夢を見てるくらいなら問題ないって。それに、このまま放っておいた方が体力奪われちゃうから。
Yeah, everyone's there.
そうね。
Everyone but Yuji. He's not there yet.
じゃあ、私が。ねえ、サチ、起きなさい。サチ。お母さん。ダメ、呼びかけたくらいじゃ起きてくれない。それなら。どいてチルチル。今度は私がやってみるのよさ。おい、サッチンってば、起きるのよさ。サチ？ミチル様。よかった。目が覚めたんだな、サッチン。
Aw, they woke her up.
それに、マキちゃん。他にもアマネーと黒いのも一緒なのよさ。
黒いもの? Yumiko's like,
それに、ここは。ああ、三島崎にある病院よ。病院。そうでした。私、一度気を失って。そう。それでお見舞いに来たら小峰さんがうなされていたから起こさせてもらったわ。すみません。皆さんにご迷惑をおかけしてしまって。
don't worry about it.
さっちゃんが謝ることないって。ねえサチ、あんたさっきの夢
みちる、それ以上はダメ。
Amane's like, girl, let me tell you about something. Don't.
あ、そっか。ごめん、サチ。どうしてみちる様が謝るのでしょうか。本当に何でもないから、あんたも気にしないでよ。はい、わかりました。
She's still saying the same things. Michiru's like, oh, I know something.
まあほら、無事にさっちゃんが見つかってこうして話すことができたんだからよかったじゃん。
Yeah.
あまねえの言う通りなのよ。サッチンがいなくなってめちゃくちゃ心配したのよさ。
私も探す手間くらいはかけたわね。
Quite soon.
すみません、いろいろとご迷惑をおかけしてしまいまして。
ほらユミコ、あんたがそんなこと言うからまたサチが謝っちゃうでしょ。
We're just like, Dari, your actual student nature.
私は本当のことを言ったまでだけど。だとしてもそれを言わないのが友達ってもんでしょうが。
本当にすみません。
いいっていいって。だってさっちゃんはユウジと約束した場所で待ってただけなんでしょ。
はい、約束しましたから。
そっか。だったらさっちゃんは何も悪くない。うん。
Yep.
あまねさん、
Just bow tie it, nice.
さすがあまねえなのよ。心の大きさが胸に負けてないのよさ。
Right.
それは言えてるかもしれないわね。榊さんまで。
Aw. I'm not used to getting compliments.
まあ今はゆっくり休んで早く元気になるのがサチの仕事だからね。はい、わかりました。
Meanwhile, in the Council of Evil, wait, what?
マキナ、動くと危ないって。
だってあまねえのブラッシングが強引すぎるのよさ。
When I enter the dorm for the first time in 3 days, I'm greeted by the familiar sight of Amane grooming Makina in the lobby. Hey Amane, Sachi's scheduled to leave the hospital today, right?
うん、そうだけど。ってユウジ
Hey, Lurker Krishi, how's it going?
お兄ちゃん、今までどこで何してたのよ。
You know, hanging out. Well, here and there.
ちょっとなっちゃないわよ。さっちゃんが見つかって安心したかと思ったら今度はユウジがいなくなっちゃったってみんな心配してたんだよ。
Sorry, I had a job come in and then I need to butter up JB for a while. Couldn't quite find the time to come back.
JB さんを説得？
Well, I guess you could say that was part of the job too.
じゃあ仕事なら仕事だって一言言ってくれればよかったのに。
Oh, I ordered, you know.
そうなのよさ。チルチルなんか頭にラップを巻いてなりながら深夜徘徊してたくらいなのよ。
Oh, she was just doing her hair dye. I think that's just her regularly scheduled maintenance. That's one way to call it.
それを聞いてきたってことはユウジもさっちゃんの退院に付き合ってくれるってこと？
Hell yeah. Actually, I was going to ask if you'd let me take care of that by myself. I'm like, oh no, I could tell. You're going down the Sachi route, aren't you? It's Lisa? Well, Bob Churro is better. Best
ご
name.
めん。どうして一人で？
私とサッチンくらいの仲になると退院の瞬間を一緒に分かち合いたくなるのが当然ってもんなのよさ。
Maki's like, hey, my mate. Yeah, I do understand you want to be there. This is just me being selfish, but the thing is, I got something important to discuss, Sachi, so it'd be more convenient if we could have some privacy.
二人っきりだと？
Privacy? Yeah, I do. Don't worry. Planning to fill you in afterward.
なるほどね。
Amane's like, oh, this guy. I want to rest her hand on her chin and nods thoughtfully.
わかった。ユージがそう言うなら、私たちはここで留守番してるわよ。
Well, you have to get that childhood friend.
バカな。知らぬ間に意見をまとめられていたのよさ。
Makina's like, you betrayed me, Amane! I want to go say hi to Sachi.
だってほら、病院に行かなくてもさっちゃんとはすぐに会えるんだしさ。そう考えたら、意固地になる必要もないでしょ？
Yeah, that's fair. Where's Makina going?
無言でお尻見るな。私が言ってるのはお尻の病気じゃなくて、そこまでムキになる必要はないってこと。
その物分かりの良さはすでにフランスパンあたりで買収済みか。
パンで釣られるのはあんたくらいでしょうが。てか、ユージがわがまま言うなんて珍しいことじゃん。
Well, that's true.
言われてみればそうなのよさ。
Not particularly conscious of that myself, but I guess I'll have to take their word for it.
ってわけで、マキナもそれでいいでしょ。おやつも作ってあげるからさ。
Basically, bribe Makina with food because it works every time.
いいのかシェフ。私の舌はわがままだぞ。
はいはい。精一杯腕を振るわせていただきますよ。
Sorry, you two.
いいっていいって。その代わり、荷物とかはちゃんと持ってあげてよね。
Yeah, of course.
病室でエロいことすんなよ。
Yeah, of course.
今、返事までにわずかなラグが見受けられたのよさ。
ダダン!
そりゃあ、あんたの質問に呆れただけだってば。
When I quietly open the door to our hospital room, I find Sachi up and about, neatly folding her blankets next to the bed. I bet good money you're one of those people who make their own bed when staying in a hotel.
なぜそのこと？
Anybody could guess from a look at this little scene. Well, they weren't distracted by the completely out-of-place maid outfit first.
退院の時は制服だろというご指摘があればすぐに着替えますが。
That doesn't look like casual attire either. Well, I don't think exactly a formal occasion or anything.
でしたら、なるべくと言われていますので、ここはメイド服を着させていただきますね。
I wonder who told her that one. Right. There's an awkward moment before I can manage to respond. Now that I know about Sachi's principles, those typical words inspired a twinge of something like pity. Alright, take care of the bedding.
ですが、
You're still recovering. Spare the back talk for another time, alright?
風見さんがそうおっしゃるのでしたら、すみませんが、よろしくお願いします。
Oh, look at that. Sure. Actually, you know what's pretty funny? Even not in the Sachi route, usually consistently try to help Sachi with chores and stuff. Well, Krichi, she's the main girl in this route. Changing place with Sachi at the side of her bed, quickly remove the sheets and begin to fold the mattress. She's like, whoa, this dexterity and skill. Also, Sachi is Yuji's childhood friend, what? As I work, Sachi stares intently at my face. You have something you want to ask me? Go ahead.
では、どうして風見さんがここに？
There's something strange about me coming to pick you up from the hospital?
いえ、そんなことはないのですが、私が入院している間、風見さんは一度もいらっしゃらなかったので。
Oh, you miss me?
というより、風見さんは私のことを怒っているのではないかと思っていました。
And why would you think that?
それは公園で会った風見さんが悲しそうな顔をされていたので。
I see. So that's it.
はい。
As she speaks, Sachi's expression is distinctly downcast. Not a look you see on her face often. Normally, Sachi can present an expression of unperturbed, detached calm under virtually any circumstances. This must have been bothering her a great deal, and if so, Actually, Sachi, I have something I wanted to discuss with you. It's sort of related to your question just now.
私にお話ですか?
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of important.
というと、商店街の角にあるタバコ屋さんの奥さんの不倫相手がついに判明したのでしょうか?
Dun 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 dun. That's important to you?
何を言っているんですか、風見さん。商店街は夏休み前からその話題で持ちきりですよ。
That's pretty important then. That's that a fact. So I've gotten a bit sidetracked here. Anyway, let's finish up here first. We can talk after.
はい、わかりました。
はい、わかりました。
で、小峰さんが戻ってきて早々、全員が集められたのはなぜなのかしら。
それから、どうして制服を着て教室集合なのかもね。
Is it a meeting of the Rejected Women's Club? Because this is the Oh no, Yuji called it. Yuji called the meeting. Oh, me after returning from the hospital of Sachi, I arranged for all of our dorm mates to gather in the classroom, resulting in this admittedly justifiable barrage of questions. Sorry to stand on ceremony and all, but this is something of a formal report, so I figured it couldn't hurt to have an appropriate setting.
正式な報告?
Yeah, no. In order to ensure Mihama Academy remains a harmonious living environment for everyone here, something I intend to announce to all of you immediately.
ふむふむ、話は分かったわ。で、その正式な報告ってのは一体何なの?
I want to marry all of you. Please go out with me. Right? Oh wait, that's the main character Sekai no Ishi's on. Well, to get straight to the point, Sachi and I are dating now. Well.
Huh?
Well. I'm gonna say, what?
Huh?
I'm gonna say, huh? Draw Sachi up to my side by the waist, say what needs to be said, and wait. Classroom goes dead silent for a long moment. Our four classmates scattered randomly across the room stare up at us. Range of uncomprehending and quizzical expressions frozen on their faces. Yep. The end, the first break the increasingly awkward stalemate is Sachi.
あまり驚かれていないみたいですね。はあ、いやいやいや、十分すぎるほど驚いてるってば。
There's like, what?
その割には皆さん落ち着かれているように見えたのですが。
Literally everyone's brains just fell on the floor and I'm like
落ち着いてたっていうか、びっくりして言葉が出なかっただけなんだけどね。
私なんて冗談抜きで心臓が止まりかけたんだから。
So surprised, shocked.
そうなのよ。ただでさえ危ういチルチルの脳細胞に血がいかなくなって、さらに残念なことになるところだったのよさ。
Wow, wow.
そうよそうよ。
バカにされてることに気づかないところは確かに残念。
何?
Okay, Michiru is one thing, but I didn't really expect the rest of you to have trouble getting your heads around this.
いや、言葉の意味は把握してるんだけど、なんていうか、いろいろ唐突すぎてさ。
最近2人の仲が良かったのは知っていたのだけど、ここまでの展開はさすがに予想してなかったのよさ。
I mean, to be fair, we did choose the Sachi route.
そうね。今日がエイプリルフールだとしても、タチの悪い冗談だ。
Why is Sakaki already getting violent? Hold it, Sakaki. Two things. One, it's July. Two, what are you planning to do with that?
それはあなたの返答次第ね。
Oh, Sakaki's like, did you order her to date you? Alright, I'll say this again as unambiguously as I can. Sachi and I are really dating, not a joke. Oh, look, listen, they're both kind of embarrassed when they say it. These guys are like, When I declare the matter in the simplest possible terms, brief silence settles on the classroom for the second time in the last few minutes.
小峰さん、風見くんの言っていることは本当なの？
はい、実は先ほど病院からの帰り道で。
With the heart Okay then, Sachi, as for that important discussion,
はい
I want you to be my girlfriend. Alright with you?
はい風見さんがそうおっしゃるのでしたらということがありまして
Fire the confetti cannon? I have no confetti cannon.
でサッチンは2つ返事で OK した後うんそうだね
何そのなあサッカー部に入らないかまあお前がそう言うならみたいなノリは
ですが実際にそういうノリでしたし
いやノリがそうだったとしてもそれくらいの気持ちで OK しちゃっていいの
というと
ほら付き合うってことは恋人になるってことでしょそう考えたら普通は好きなもの同士っていうのが基本じゃない
I mean, to be fair, Sachi's been interested in Yuji like every route so far, so...
はいそれは天音さんの言う通りだと思います
ならズバリ聞くけれど小峰さんは風見くんのことをどう思っているの
風見さんのことは嫌いではありませんよ
I don't dislike him, right, really?
じゃあ好きなのかしら
それはよくわかりません
Sachi's like, you know, it's been a long time. When one of those words leaves Sachi's mouth, the tense atmosphere in the classroom softens rapidly.
わからないか
Oh my god! Did they finally get a question that Sachi couldn't answer?
ユージの隣に席を移した時も同じようなこと言ってたしそれが正直なところなんじゃないのだとしたらひとまずは安心かもしれないわね
The aggressive inquisitors who seemed just about ready to physically go for my throat a minute ago, not in apparent satisfaction. I don't quite follow, but does this mean none of you have any objections? Michio's like, what about my time? My route! And we're like, we already did that.
今のあんたはサチが頼み事を断れないいい子だってことを利用して交際を迫ってるようなもんなのよ
Not holding a gun to her head, am I?
たとえそうだとしても
Hey Sachi, if you don't like this idea, I'm completely fine with you turning me down, alright? You can be honest. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to ask one more time. You willing to be my girlfriend?
はい私は風見さんとお付き合いをすることが嫌なわけではありませんから
Yeah, you know, I kind of like it, you know, whatever. You like the student tits? Yeah, Michiru's my favorite character too, she's funny. It's there, straight from the horse's mouth.
くだからってそういう聞き方は卑怯よ
Okay, let me ask you something. How would a fair romance work exactly? Pursuing someone romantically means trying to monopolize their affection. Of course, you use everything you can to try and get a foot in the door. Love's fundamentally selfish. I don't see any real difference between my strategy here and, say, your tsundere thing. Or Amane or chest blubber attacks. Am I wrong? Amane's probably like, what are you calling blubber?
なんだろう言ってることはめちゃくちゃなはずなのにこの妙な説得力は
This bullshit out of his mouth sounds convincing. Be sure. No, you have to get me against the truth. Nope, not happening.
でも
Alright. Not unsympathetic to your complaints. If you feel Sachi's consent isn't enough under the circumstances, I'll provide you with an even better argument.
そんなものがあったのよ
Yeah, truth is, kept this quiet until now, but
いたんだが
Sachi and I are childhood friends. This reaction is so great. Yo, you know Mr. Ed from old TV shows? That was a talking horse. I mean, granted, it's just peanut butter in the horse's mouth and made him look like he was talking, but still, talking horse. And so the third silence settles on the classroom.
じゃあしょうがないかも。
Michiru's like, well, I guess if she also has a trope, that trope trumps my trope, so she wins.
松島さん、どうしてこんな理由で説得されているの？
Michiru's like, I understand. I'm playing the student role all this time.
だって幼馴染って言ったらツンデレよりメジャーどころじゃない。
Oh, yep. Michiru's like, oh, darn, I lost. I mean, I can't be childhood friends because I'm not, but she's the real childhood friend. I like how Yumiko's just like, huh? Ama's like, yeah, right, as if that's gonna pass over. And Michiru's just like, oh, defeat.
お兄ちゃんの言ってることは本当なのよ。はい、私と風見さんは幼い頃にしばらく一緒に遊んでいたことがありました。
Incidentally, back then we called each other Sachan and Yukun.
ゆうくん。
Yomiko-san? What's wrong? The time it was cold.
照れてどうするの？
It's not all. Back in the day, we kissed on a regular basis.
Kiss!
Except it's more Sachi kissing you on the cheek, Yuji. So.
正確には唇対方でしたので、キスというよりはチューと呼んだ方がいいかもしれません。
There you go.
チューか。
Chuka. Water chuka. What?
サチンはロリってた頃も大胆だったんだな。
Praising Lil Lolly. What? What did you say, Makina?
これが若気の至りというものでしょうか。
Well, no, remember, this is like 2015 or so, or 14 when this game came out. So, the childhood friend trope was going pretty strong. Soons were like coming up. They're the up and coming. But there was various Dura factions that started to branch off. Childhood friend, man, Osanajimi is pretty powerful. So don't underestimate the childhood friend.
ちょっと若すぎるけどね。
So anyway, put a romantic spin on all this, and you could call it a miracle that Sachi and I were reunited here.
奇跡だなんて。そんなのただの偶然だわ。
Actually, it's kind of inevitable. You two ended up together like this. You guys are so far gone from normal. Call it what you want. The odds of us meeting again were incredibly low. Probably millions to one. Yet here we are. Sakaki's, dissatisfied. She goes, I never get any love and affection. I'm like, well, you're an awesome character. And to be fair, you are the last one, Yumiko, so watch out. Also, how romance starts off isn't the most important thing. What matters is how you grow into it.
紡いでいく?
Yeah. I know Sachi probably doesn't have clear romantic feelings for me yet. When I found her, she'd been waiting for me in the pouring rain for an entire day, without even an umbrella. Been thinking things over seriously ever since then, and made up my mind. Want to see her happy, so I'm going to make that happen, whatever it takes. Sachi said, I'll protect Sachi to the extent she's comfortable with, and I won't make her regret becoming my girlfriend. I promise you people that. Still have a problem? Find someone who can make her happier than I can. I'll gladly step aside. Not until then. Okay, so, you can't, your childhood friend can't be your little sister. That's a different trope! That is the little sister trope. And people with real little sisters don't get the moe for little sisters. So, it's kind of like a automatic loss. Unless you're a redneck. Wait, what? I'm gonna say, powerful words. Seems I've reduced Amane to illiterate grunts.
だってユー
ユージにそこまで言われたら、そう言ってもらえなかった私たちは何も言えなくなっちゃうじゃない。
You know what? You know, not gonna lie. I think some of the routes he wouldn't even say that. Like, don't push your luck. Michiru's like, he never said that to me in my route. I mean, his tone of voice is vaguely sulky. Not unexpected in her case. I'm slightly surprised to see Sakaki and Michiru showing similarly mixed emotions on their faces. Sachi and Yuji are the best power couple? I don't know. I think Yumiko Yuji would be the strongest couple. That's Sachi wins! Yay!
Sachi? Sachi は風見雄二という男を奪い合う戦いに見事勝利したのよ。
Let's grab a man meat. And to be fair, I think the Machina Yuji couple is pretty strong in the good ending, especially when he becomes when he becomes the equivalent of boss of boss, and Machina basically becomes Solid Snake. Okay, let's try this again. You willing to accept our relationship? Yo, Machina's taking charge here. What?
ここまで言われたら認めるしかないんじゃない？そうね。私もそう思う。
Yeah, in comparison, I think the Yuji Amane couple and the Yuji Michiru couple, even though I like Michiru a lot, yeah, they're not that strong. They're not that strong in comparison. There you go, boss! Good job! Thanks for the summary, but what about you, Machina? Machina's like, you know, whatever, I lost, it's okay. Sounds like Machina's gonna kick somebody in the nuts. Yes. Definitely, you know, I think Amane and Yuji are more like the kind of like, they feel more like the destined couple. This one feels more like a power couple, and the Yuji and Michiru ones like kind of like they're kind of like the we're gonna learn about being in a relationship couple, you know. But yeah, I think definitely these latter three, the Machina Yuji, the Sachi Yuji, are strong. And I think the Yumiko Yuji one will also be like that. Sounds about right. Machina's like, yes. Machina was willing to lose to Amane even. Come on, let's be honest. And to be fair, I think Machina already got her dad. Yeah, very strong bonds. You're not wrong. Seems like I managed to persuade them for the time being. Alright then, looks like we're pretty much done here. Sachi and I are going to head out now. Yeah, I want to talk some stuff over, now that things are official. Alright, later, let's go, Sach. Yeah, I noticed that weird nickname. It's like, yoi. This is definitely a strong couple. Yumiko's like, I need to do research. Porn must be set aside. Research comes first. Oh, Yumiko's actually like, No, not yet. That's definitely gonna probably be Yumiko Yuji, let's be honest, King. The strongest couple. But definitely, like, the Sachi Yuji one, like, they play off each other very well. So that one's pretty strong. And the Makina one, it's like mentor and student, so, which, like, kind of weird. Like, I didn't think that the Makina one would be able to sell itself. But no. Remember, if it comes to the people who synergize the best, I think Yuji Sachi are definitely showing signs of people who may synergize best, as in they're most similar to one another. I think Yumiko is going to be the strongest couple, and like the most lovey-dovey one, I think the most normal kind of couple-ish is the Michiru Yuji one. That's like the sweethearts one. And the Amina one is just kind of like that's like the Destiny one. Not the childhood friend one, but the I knew your older sister and she passed away, and you also knew your older sister and she passed away. Wait, what? We're heading out onto the roof of Sachi in tow. Lean back against a tall wire fence and exhale. Whoo! Yeah, she's the high school sweetheart. Michiru is great. Classmates' reactions were a little unpredictable, but in the end I managed to get their consent, if not approval. Our relationship established, I'll be able to spend more time around Sachi without it seeming unnatural. Simply being there should be a good first step. Sachi's like, Sachi stands at my side with typically excellent posture, staring off vaguely into the distance as if lost in thought. Sort of threw things into commotion the instant you got out of the hospital, didn't I? You feeling alright? That a fact. Even so, she responds to my question immediately, turning toward me with a pleasant smile on her face. Be sure that's all completely standard Sachi, but the way she was gazing off absentmindedly instead of waiting intently for her next orders is a little unusual. Also, I know this is a little late in the game, but sorry about springing the girlfriend thing on you out of nowhere. I mean, that's why she has a second personality, Krishi. What? Happy, huh? What Sachi calls happiness now was really something deserving of the name. I don't think I would have gotten this worried about her. The moment she's buried her feelings so deep that she can't even give herself a straight answer about whether she likes me. For the same reason, becoming a formal couple should be a meaningful development. Anyway, no one must seem sudden, but I meant what I said to the others. Now that we're dating, I'm going to put real effort into being your boyfriend. That's a promise. Sachi's like, what? Fair warning. Plan to give you a few pushes forward to help you be yourself. I'm not going to explain yet. You'll have to wait and see. I mean, that's about right. That it is. Get a bit excited? Ah, you really should be. Look, there's no point in acting surprised now, okay? Even in casual, aimless conversations like this, Sachi's self-imposed rules regularly assert themselves. No matter what happened in the past, she's a student at Mihama Academy now. In that case, we may as well get her a few appropriate memories to remember her student life by. I think that's what Sachi needs more than anything else right now. It's not going to solve all her problems, but it's a necessary start. Okay, here's the thing. Now that we're in a relationship, there's 3 things I want you to try and do for me, Sachi. It's just sex, and more sex, damn it. Not only are you spectacularly wrong, but all 3 of those mean the exact same thing. She's like, what? No sex? Number 1, try to spend as much time with me as you can, within reason. That's what we call clinging. Roughly, well, I guess that's what you wanted though. Roughly, yeah, but I'm not looking to establish any hard and fast rules here. Don't think too hard about these.
わかりました。
The game that stole your joke? Yeah, it not only stole your joke, but it trumped it. More sex. Sex sells. Sex joke. Ha. Anyway, Sachi closed her eyes and nodded silently to herself in a familiar gesture. Come to think of it, this probably signifies the moment she binds herself to a new precept. Okay, second up.
はい。
From now on, I want you to try and actively think about the reasons behind things.
理由を考えるですか?
That's right. Remember that time a while back when Mishra asked you to bring her a metal bat?
それは風見さんと一緒に大浴場のお掃除をした日のことですよね。
You're gonna say bear my seed? Oh. Bear my seed, bear my load, bear my... You know what, we'll stop there. That's right. At the time you told me you weren't interested in the reason Mishra wanted a bat. But I think you'd be better off showing a little more curiosity about things like that. For one thing, some effort in that department should help cut down those weird misunderstandings you're always making.
なるほど。納得です。
Oh, this gonna lead to some stuff. Alright. As for number 3, generally speaking, I want you to observe my behavior carefully.
すみません。それはどういう意味でしょう?
Now this is the kicker. Yeah, let's see. As your boyfriend, I'm going to spend a lot of time with you. We'll do plenty of things together and talk a lot more than we used to. So as my girlfriend, I'd like you to actively make note of how I act in any given situation. I know you might not understand at the moment, but I think it's going to be helpful down the road.
わかりました。それなら風見さんの一挙手一投足をこの目にしっかりと焼き付けておくようにします。
Yeah, you do that. Wow, that's pretty intense. So far, so good. These rules function properly. The time we spend together should prove beneficial to Sachi. That's all I wanted to say, but you have any questions on your end, Sachi?
では、一つ質問があるのですが。
Good to hear. Shoot.
はい。実は先ほどからずっと気になっていたのですが、風見さんの私に対する呼び方はサチからサッチにシフトしたのでしょうか?
I was just thinking how unusual it was for you to be staring off into the distance. We were worrying about that of all things.
何を言うんですか、風見さん。呼び名は日常生活はもちろん作戦行動下においてもそれなりに重要な役割を担っているポイントですよ。
Mr. Typo?
もし風見さんのコードネームがマッドハッターではなくみちる様だったら通信のたびに嘲笑がこぼれ仕事どころではなくなるはずです。
Oh my god, that burn! You know, Michiru would bite your leg if she heard that. But considering the Michiru-sama incident, this does seem to be a fairly important point to Sachi. Alright, if it's that big a deal to you, I'll think it over carefully.
よろしくお願いします。
Sachi's like, be careful how you address me. That said, the nickname before was a completely spur-of-the-moment thing, and Sachi has always worked pretty well for me. Alright, I think I'm going to stick with Sachi after all. It's what I'm used to at this point.
わかりました。それでは逆に私はこれから風見さんのことを何とお呼びしたらいいでしょう?
Let's see. The way she is now, Sachi probably called me Oni-chan or darling without even batting an eyelid if I asked. Might be something worth taking advantage of since I have the chance. Alright then, from now on, why don't you call me Yukun, the way you used to?
これは心がけ2にも関わる質問なのですが、風見さんはそちらの方がお好みということなのでしょうか?
Yeah, I guess. It's kind of nostalgic, and first names feel more natural for a couple, don't you think?
なるほど。ゆうくんにはそんな効果があったんですね。
If you like, I can call you Sachan myself. Oh, she blushed!
その場合、天音さんとの被りが懸念されますが、風見さんのご希望ということであれば、私は首を縦に振るだけです。
Yeah, he's super into it. Oh man, but look at that blush! Yeah, when Amina calls you that, you don't blush like that, do you, huh, Sachi? Alright, understood. As always, she's seriously awkward when it comes to expressing what she really wants.
私の名前で笑いが巻き起こるだなんて。サチとは一度私有を決する必要がありそうね。
Dun-dun-dun-dun! Oh no, it's final boss Michiru!
やめときなって。ミチルが絶対負けるんだから。
Amina's like, it's a foregone conclusion. You lose, girl.
それより普通にいい雰囲気だったのは気のせいかしら。
Oh.
ああ、それは確かにね。なんか覗き見るのも悪い気がしてくるくらいだったかも。
This is amazing, yeah.
だから私は最初から言ってるのよさ。お前らは心配しすぎなだけだって。
You guys are words.
ちょっとマキナ、あんたユージのことをお兄ちゃんって呼ぶくらい気に入ってるくせに何一人だけ大人ぶってるのよ。いいチルチル。人は常に成長する生き物なのよ。
Michiru the jellyhead? Jellyhead? Really? Jellyhead?
成長しないのは歩みを止めた人間とチルチルの胸くらいのものなのよ。
Oh shit!
あんたも泣かす。いつか絶対泣かせてやるんだから。やめときなって。逆に泣かされるのが目に見えてるんだから。
Oh my god, Amina's like, you're gonna lose to. You're the weakest here, sorry, Michiru.
負けるな、私。
Oh, poor Michiru. Meanwhile, my master always used to tell me that the success or failure of an operation is 80% decided before you pull the trigger. Point being, preliminary planning and advanced groundwork are crucial, and in general, disorganization and dysfunction in the field is a product of problems with your group's interpersonal dynamics. Smooth communication and functional relationships create the favorable conditions necessary for success. You keep the people around you up to date on your situation, and ensure that everyone shares a common understanding. In obedience to that theory, I voluntarily submitted myself to an aggravating interrogation from my classmates yesterday, but unfortunately there's still one more person in the school I need to offer a report to. Bob to her best husband, the waifu. Well, considering that she possesses the authority to restrict my actions, it might be more accurate to call this one a negotiation rather than a report. In negotiating, it's a serious mistake to admit a position of weakness. The balance of power is overwhelmingly tilted toward your opponent. Your goal is to keep them from realizing it. At times, a little empty bravado is called for. So in summary, Sachi and I are dating as of yesterday. You have a problem with that? She's like, yeah, I expected it. Apparently unfazed by both my arrogant tone and sizable pair of feet, currently propped up on her nice wooden table, Shizuru offers me a little round of mock applause in place of a scolding. Aren't teachers supposed to object to this sort of thing by default?
それは偏見というものよ。健全なお付き合いは人を成長させるものだし、私としては反対する理由がありません。
That's the adult way of saying stuff, guys. You're not considering the possibility I might take advantage of Sachi and then throw her away?
そうすることが小峰さんのためになるとあなたが判断したなら、私は何も言わないわ。
Oh, snap. Sounds like something JB would say.
あら、春寺さんに似ていると言ってもらえるのは嬉しいわね。
Yeah, I don't think you want to be compared to her. What? A modest, youthful woman like you, who could still pass for a student in a pinch, idolizing some shaggy-headed bimbo who traipses around dressed like an effeminate stage magician?
違います。そんな言い方は彼女に失礼だし、彼女以上にあなたのことを理解している人間はいないという意味でです。
Ah, that's a relief.
それに、あなたがそんなことのできない子だってことくらいは知っているつもりよ。
And now she's talking like some kind of educator, cheeky woman.
じゃあ、私の職業は
You're a principal.
大変よくできました。
Talking like an educator. What's my job title? Principal. Oh, okay. The women I know have a habit of coolly declaring that they understand things about me that I'm not aware of myself. From my perspective, it's kind of disconcerting. Maybe I'm just that transparent a human being, but whatever the case, this sort of vague, unconditional trust just makes the pressure and sense of responsibility I burden myself with weigh all the heavier on my shoulders.
というわけで、私は学生の自主性を尊重します。
Date whoever you want. Although to be fair, you showed up for the Machina trial meeting. Independence, she says. The sense that I'm acting exactly as Chizuru anticipated is a little galling. I guess putting up with a bit of smug self-satisfaction on her part is far preferable to fighting against her opposition. To be honest though, I'm not confident I can play the boyfriend role particularly well.
あなたが弱音を吐くなんて珍しいわね。
Oh really? Guess so. The master taught me the knowledge and attitude necessary to get by in Ichigaya. So far I've been able to compensate for my shortcomings in other fields through determined effort. So if I was dealing with someone who wanted a comfortable lifestyle or prettier face or something, I'm confident that I'd be able to make it happen given enough time. But I honestly don't know if I'll ever be able to make happiness mean the same thing for Sachi as it does for me. I'm well aware that when someone forgets what happiness is, it's not easy to make them remember again. After all, I say this whole project is an attempt to do for Sachi what my master did for me.
そう。あなたには悪いけど、今の言葉を聞いて少し安心したわ。
What? Chizuru relaxes in her chair as she speaks. Her eyes find mine, gentle as a new mother's. Why would hearing about my self-doubt inspire relief exactly?
それは、あなたが仕事を依頼した業者だっていうなら不安にもなるけれど、今のあなたは学生で、そもそも人間という生き物自体が未完成なものでしょ?
Man, that sucks. Yeah, you're a work in progress human being. Well, whatever.
だから初めてのことには自信がなくて当然だし、人との付き合いを繰り返していくことでその穴を埋めていくものなんじゃないかしら。
Weren't you the one mocking me for being a romantic just the other day? You're laying it on pretty thick yourself all of a sudden.
あのね、私がこんな話をしてるからって茶化しているわけじゃないのよ。
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
だったらいいんだけど、あなたが今いる場所は学園だということは覚えておいてほしいわね。
School. This ain't work. This ain't Ichigaya. And what's that supposed to mean apart from the blindingly obvious?
学園という場所には教師である私がいて、クラスメートの女の子たちがいる。だからわからないことや不安なことがあったらどんどん周りに助けを求めればいいじゃない。
That's a surprisingly sound argument that I didn't have a single educator or classmate of mine tell me going through school. I figured everything out on my own. And here I am, anime fan. What? Help from the people around me, huh?
あなたもこの学園に来てからしばらくになるし、あの子たちが意外に頼りになるってことには気づいているんじゃない?
You know, realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if like the 6 Mihama Academy students would make some sort of like specialist operation front down the line. Lesbian? No, not lesbian. First glance, they're an eccentric bunch, and a number of them have some serious deficiencies as students. But as a group, they've got an unexpectedly observant and responsible side when it comes to helping out their classmates. When Sachi went missing, every one of them cooperated on their own initiative, above and beyond what I asked of them. Can't say Chizuru was wrong about this one.
その顔は覚えありって感じね。
Yeah, I suppose so. Alright, we're making the Mihama battalion. It's good based around 6 people with Chizuru as their head, kinda de facto head, because they had to put someone in charge and it had to be an adult.
それに今は幸い夏休みなんだし、小峰さんとの時間を増やしていく間に
Yeah, things happen, you know? Summertime, things happen.
いくらあなたが仕事を抱えた学生だと言っても、それくらいの時間はあるでしょう?
Although it does feel, I can see Yuji's perspective, it does feel like he's falling into Chizuru's trap somehow. Guess you're probably right. My uncertainty about this new relationship is my own problem. The things Sachi needs from me aren't going to change. The soul searching and second guessing can wait until after she's regained something like normality.
未だに学生に間違われる女の話でも少しは役に立った?
Yeah, my apologies. Retract the comment.
そうそう。あなたにはその謙虚さが大切よ。
As Chizuru stands from her chair, I follow her lead and push myself off the sofa. Well, I'll give it my best shot.
え? あまり難しく考える必要なんてない。あなたが小峰さんのことを考えて行動しようと思っているなら、それはもう立派な彼氏なんだと思うわよ。
Hope you're right. Just as reported to Chizuru, yesterday Sachi and I officially became a couple. Although doing so was a necessary step toward helping Sachi regain herself, I don't want our relationship to be nothing but the means to an end. While my master taught me a few things about romance, it was more like playing make-believe than anything else. This is the first time I've been in a genuine romantic partnership. Somehow stumbled into a position of potentially considerable influence over the life of someone I care about. It's a heavy thought. A single drop of sweat runs down my spine, sending a slight unseasonable chill through my body. Guess it's only natural that I'd be nervous. Lowering my eyes from the ceiling, I discover a shadowy shape protruding slightly from behind a pillar. Judging from the single glint of light that follows as I move, probably watching me with a monocular of some sort. A decently made toy of that sort can read fine newsprint from 10 meters. Pro models are highly useful as inconspicuous portable surveillance devices. Since this is almost certainly just Machina screwing around with something she ordered out of the back of a comic book, shouldn't pose a problem to just leave it be. Being followed. But even as they move from place to place, the shadowy form and its glint of light follows persistently. Getting followed around all day would be kind of unpleasant. I think it's time I put an end to this. After a moment of quiet concentration, throw open my eyes and dash fearlessly at my hidden observer. And making full use of my surprise advantage, I barrel straight into my target before they have time to react. As my momentum carries us rolling across the ground, I twist my body to protect the stalker from the impact. When we come to rest in the shadows, there's a floral scent tickling my nose, and a feeling something soft in my hand. It's Sachi. This would be a female breast, if I'm not mistaken. A little small for Amane or Yumiko, but not meager enough to be Makino or Michiru. Sachi, that you?
驚きました。ゆうくんは胸の大きさで人物を特定することが可能なんですね。
Well, to be honest, I was also going off your scent and non-reactions being tackled, among other things. I rise to my feet as I speak, then reach out a hand to Sachi, who's still sprawled out on the ground. Why are you blushing all of a sudden?
いえ、これから彼氏彼女的なことをするのなら雰囲気作りをと思いまして。
She wants it. Appreciate the thought, but nobody asks for that sort of help.
では、どうして私は押し倒されてしまったのでしょう?
Because you've been stalking me since I left the principal's office.
ということは、最初から気づかれていたんですね。
Of course I was. The way you kept pointing that thing straight at my face, it'd be pretty damn hard to miss the reflection from the lens.
なるほど。以前マキちゃんとスパイごっこをするために購入していた KGB で採用されていると噂のスパイスコープを使ってみたのですが、
She's a keeper.
反射光のことまでは取扱説明書に書いてありませんでした。
Well, probably because it was too obvious to mention. More importantly, why did you feel the need to conduct a surveillance operation on me this late in the game? Did somebody ask you to investigate my movements?
はい、ゆうくんに頼まれました。
Oh, I did. Wait, I did?
はい、ゆうくんは昨日私に俺のことをよく見ていてくれと言っていましたから。
And that's why you were spying on me from the shadows with a monocular?
はい、裸眼よりも細かな部分の変化を見逃さないよう、レンズ6枚、プリズム2枚構成で抜かりなしです。
Chicken neck? What? How reassuring. Naturally, I didn't mean observe carefully in that sense, but Sachi interpreted it this way. I have to make a mental note for future reference. Just as I'm heaving a small sigh, Michiru's shrill voice approaches.
ちょっと頼みたいことがあるんだけど。って何よ、ユージも一緒？
Yeah, he lives in the storm. That's a problem, I can leave.
別にそういうわけじゃないけど。まさか付き合い始めたことをいいことにこんなところでおかしなことをしようとしてたわけじゃないでしょうね。
落ち着いてください、みちる様。鼻息の荒さが尋常じゃなくなっています。
そうね。せっかくの淑女が台無しになるところだったわ。
My finely honed instincts started telling me it's probably best not to ask what dignity at the moment.
それで本題はどのようなお話だったんですか？
ちょっとサチに部屋の片付けを手伝ってもらいたかったのよ。
In other words, you're incapable of picking up after yourself. Good to know.
私はあれよ、とても綺麗好きだけど部屋を散らかす方がちょっとだけ得意なのよ。
You want this to reach JoJo levels of over the top? JoJo's not over the top. Everything's just beneath it. Wrecked. Everything not JoJo. Sounds rough.
でしょー。で、サチは今大丈夫なの？
ゆうくん、みちる様がこう言ってるのですが。
ゆうくん
Michiru's like, ah! Pretty sure I already mentioned you used to call me that when you were kids. Is it that surprising to hear her using it now?
そういえば屋上でそんな話になってたわよね。
What? Were you eavesdropping on me? Is that what you're implying? Want to see what these girls' stands would be? Her dignity smaller than a fly on tissue? Well, that's what makes Michiru lovable. On the roof.
うわー、なんでもないわよ。電波。宇宙からの回電波をたまたまキャッチみたいな。サチ、あんたは急に人のツインテールを引っ張ってどうするつもり？
いえ、どうやらアンテナの具合が悪かったようでしたので微調整を。
Oh, that's a look of Sachi going, so you were eavesdropping on us, I see. No, that's Makina's stand. Yeah, oh, I thought, I read that wrong. Yes, Makina's stand is Maguro Man. Definitely. Hands out.
あんたは電波を受信なんて冗談に決まってるでしょ。空飛ぶ魔法の冗談よ。
Never been too serious?
はい、みちる様のギャグは2月の北海道より寒いですよね。
Oh, snap!
それって褒め言葉？それともけなし言葉？
That has to be one of the more inept attempts at dodging a question I've ever seen. Seems safe to conclude our classmates were listening in our conversation on the rooftop.
でどうなの？サチ借りてっちゃっても平気？
Yeah, don't mind me.
ということらしいです。
じゃあ彼氏の OK も出たしお願いね。
はい。
Accept what others ask of you without exception. You could call that the principle that defines Sachi as she is today. So come to think of it, this might present a good opportunity to disrupt the status quo a little. Actually, hold on a second.
どうかした？
She has the intelligence of a koala. Koalas are smart. Yumiko just has a boxer with a porn mag for a stand? No, it's Mr. Libido from the Yakuza games. Can I help you out with this request as well?
ユージが私の部屋の片付けをってこ
こと？
Yep.
急にどうしてよ。
Cleaning a room involves physical labor, after all. As a boyfriend, I think it's only natural that I reduce my girlfriend's burden wherever possible.
ああ、はいはい。要はのろけですか。一人者への見せつけってわけですか。
Richu is now gonna be the butt end of this. Koalas are not the dumbest animals on the earth. Have you seen? I have met some dumb people. The koalas are not the dumbest animals on the earth. You can interpret it however you want. Is it alright if I help, or do you want Sachi to handle this alone for some reason?
そうね。私としては部屋が片付けば問題ないわね。
Very accommodating of you. Much obliged.
あれ？なんか私感謝されてる？
Yeah, that you did. You're just as understanding as I hope, Michiru.
ふふ。よくわからないけど、ユージに褒められるのも悪い気分じゃないわね。
Insert more dirty looks for Sachi.
というわけでサチ、今回はユージにも手伝ってもらうことにするから。
はい、依頼主のミチル様がおっしゃるのであれば、私は全然構いません。
Alright, Sachi. You'll be operating as my support.
了解です。
で、早速仕切られてるし。
So this is Michiru's room.
片付けの手伝いは了承したけど、あんまりチロチロ見ないでよ。
Not a problem. I've more or less grasped the structure of the room itself.
では、ユウ君、ミチル様の下着がしまわれている場所はど
Very,
こだかわかりますか？
very important question. Same as you, Sachi, in the top drawer of her dresser.
なんでわかるのよ。あんたもしかしてエスパー？
Actually, that's exactly it. But if the truth gets out, it'll become a huge hassle. Keep it a secret from the others, will you?
そう。あんたもいろいろ大変だったのね。
Why is Michiru believing this wholeheartedly out of nowhere? At times like these, one can't help but be grateful for Michiru's easily manipulated nature. Anyway, the room itself doesn't look that messy. What do you want us to clean up specifically?
それはあれよ。
Burning her eyes in shame, Michiru points to a corner of her room where numerous stacks of dusty manga tower halfway to the ceiling. When a glance at the titles, they all seem to be tsundere-centric.
ゆるゆるに縛られたままのビニール紐が自分で片付けようとして挫折したことを物語っていますね。
しょうがないでしょ。いくらきつく縛ろうとしても最後で緩んじゃうんだから。
Yeah, it's tough to tie magazines together and stuff. And that's why you came to Sachi?
そうよ。これでやることは分かったんだから、あとは任せてもいいのよね。
Yeah, I already gave you my word I'd help. So you can expect my best efforts.
よろしくお願いします。
Gathering the plastic string from the floor, I make 3 loops and begin to slip the magazines inside about 6 at a time. Get a good pile inside across the strings so they intersect on top. Make a few small loops at the corners and only then pull it taut. There, good tight bundle. Michiru's face like, what?
何？ユージはあれ？テレビのゴールデンタイムで裏技の番組とかやってた人？
What? Not quite. Pick this one up from some book I read ages ago, that's all.
最近だと荷造り用の紐自体にいくつかの結び方が記載してある場合も多いですよ。
へえ、私紐の結び方なんて蝶々結びくらいしか知らないかも。
You guys know how to tie your shoes? Michiru does. No! That concern. Puzzles. Sachi, how many do we have left?
それが今ユウ君がまとめているもので最後みたいです。
My hand's still in motion as for a progress report only to be informed the job's practically over. By dividing the work efficiently between the two of us, we've completed Michiru's request in less than 10 minutes.
じゃあそろそろ私がビニール紐で縛られてるわけを説明してちょうだい。
Huh? When I turn back, Michiru is rolled helplessly around the floor, her entire body bound tightly with plastic string in the popular tortoiseshell pattern. Hey there, Michiru, I understand if you acquired a taste for bondage, but Strikes me as kind of rude to play with yourself while people are doing your chores for you.
私だって好きで縛られてるわけじゃないわよ。これはあんたの彼女がやったの。
Well, Sachi did?
はい、ゆうくんのおかげで作業的に余裕がありましたので、この機会に縛り方を体で覚えていただこうと思いまして。
この機会にじゃないわよ。教えるなら普通に教えてよ。っていうか、そもそも縛り方違うし。
It's Shibari, probably.
では次は本を縛るのと同じ方法で。
それはいいからさっさとほどきなさいよ。もう
わかりました。
Crawl, crawl, crawl! Although I suppose this could be taken as another demonstration of the friendly and trusting relationship these two share, the way she meekly allowed Sachi to truss her up like a Christmas ham can only be described as pure Michiru. Because you gotta take out the trash, no!
でもまあ、私が苦労したのが嘘みたいにすぐ終わっちゃったわね。
Well, yeah, the request itself wasn't anything particularly tough.
ゆうくん、その発言は私たちの力を借りたみちる様への侮辱になる可能性があります。
私だってやろうと思えばきっと一人でできたわよ。
その代わり緩んだ紐が原因でゴミを出す日に階段で漫画をぶちまけヌヒーと叫ぶみちる様の姿が見えます。
That's so accurate, it's kind of very funny.
占うな。まあ二人のおかげで助かったのは本当だから一応お礼は言っとくわ。
Yeah, same to you, Michiru. You've been a help.
ありがとうございます、みちる様。
なんか手伝いを頼んだ方がお礼を言われるって変な感じね。
No need to think too hard about that one. Incidentally, if you need another favor sometime, you can come straight to me.
そしたら今日みたいにユージが手伝ったりしてくれるの？
Yeah, as long as I can help, I will. Anything you want, feel free to ask. Huh? Hardly as shocking an offer as all that, is it?
その変なことは言ってないんだけど、なんでもっていうのは
Sorry.
本当になんでもなの？
Sorry, no pervy stuff. I don't know what else I mean. Same deal as Sachi, basically. Of course, that only goes for the humanly possible.
それでも十分すぎる。
She's like, muttering the words more to herself than anyone else, Michiru pumps a fist at her side in an apparent display of enthusiasm. What's with you?
なんでもないわよ。とにかく今日は助かったわ。じゃあそういうことでまたね。
Yeah. After abruptly terminating the conversation, Michiru practically pushes Sachi and me out of her room and slams the door shut. Don't really understand what that was all about. Seems like she has something on her mind all of a sudden.
昨今のゲリラ豪雨より到達。それがみちる様ですから。
What? Seems today I can fully decipher Michiru's modus operandi is still far away.
それと、ゆうくんはこれから何をする予定なのでしょうか？
Not really. I just read in my room for a while.
でしたら、私もご一緒させていただいてもよろしいでしょうか？
Hey, read together. Yeah, I'm the one who just asked you to try and spend time with me after all.
ありがとうございます。
These actions have meaning. This is for our own good, in the long run. But even so, that doesn't change the fact that I'm taking advantage of Sachi's internal rules to manipulate her behavior.
ゆうくん、
Something wrong?
もしかして私、何か変なことを言ったでしょうか？
No, not really.
それならよかったです。
Apparently relieved by my response, Sachi smiles broadly. I noticed this earlier as well, but apparently the girl's pretty astute at picking up on small changes in my expression. Okay, back to the topic at hand. Go grab a few books from your room and bring them over, alright? The genre doesn't matter.
わかりました。では、10分後くらいにお邪魔させていただきますね。
Yeah. She asked that question. Those clear and steady eyes seemed to be staring right through my skull to the guilty feelings rolling around inside my mind. Gave me a bit of a start. It's very astute. Michiru.
よし。二人とももう行ったみたいね。ユージが何でも言うことを聞くなんて大情報。すぐに当局へ報告しないと。
She's reported to Yumiko or Amane.
何？
Oh, yep, reporting to Yumiko. Inside my practically undecorated room, silent except for the sound of the air conditioning, I turn on, for Sachi's benefit, turn the pages of my book without offering any real conversation. Sachi doesn't offer a word of complaint at any of this. I glance over, she's sitting passively exactly where she was an hour ago, contented smile on her face. Look, Sachi, are you planning to read at some point or what?
こうしてゆうくんを見ているだけでも楽しいのですが、やはり私も本を読んだ方がいいでしょうか。
That is top grade intelligence. If you have Kazame Yuji on a order basis. Well, I'm not trying to force you or anything, but is watching someone who's sitting around reading a book really any fun?
そうですね。読んでいる内容や部分によって表情に微妙な変化がありますし、もう2時間くらいはずっと同じ姿勢で本を読み続けているのはすごい集中力です。
Nah, they wouldn't break up Yuji and Sachi like that.
これがマキちゃんなら早々に飽きを示して今頃一人インゴしりとりを始めていると思います。
That's so.
はい。
Although I can't say I enjoy being compared to Makina, I guess it's safe to interpret that as an attempt at a compliment. I think I've told you this for a few times by now, but you're definitely a unique one, Sachi.
はい、ありがとうございます。
For example, I don't think you'll find many people who'll smile happily after essentially being called bizarre to their face. That said, spending this quiet time alone together isn't so bad on my end either. In fact, it brings back some faint memories of the old days. We used to watch each other like this a lot in that park. I look up at Sachi as she soared into the sky on her swing. She looked over the bench at me as I started my homework. At this stage of my life, that constant presence at my side doesn't feel as natural as it did back then. That gaze makes it a little harder to relax even. But ask me if I find it unpleasant, and my answer would be a definite no. Just as I'm reaching the end of my book, my attention is caught by something of someone rushing noisily down the stairs.
ねえユージ、今日から私たちの奴隷になったって本当？
What? Our sudden visitor and her bizarre question are too much to process on the fly. Sachi and I look quizzically into each other's faces. Look, woman, you burst into my room, fine. Do me a favor and keep your twisted illusions to yourself. I push myself up off of the bed with a few cold words, then deliver a light poke directly to Amina's forehead.
だって気になる男の子が奴隷になったなんて話を聞いたらいても立ってもいられないでしょ普通。
Slave boy Yuji? Hold on, Amane. I roughly understand what happened here, but where exactly did you pick up this criminally fraudulent misinformation?
それはもちろん私なのよさ。
Another one popped out of nowhere.
今の話をあんまねにしたら盛りのついた犬みたいに突然走り出したから痛くなる横っ腹を押さえながら頑張ってついてきたのよ。
Makina's like, I'm dying.
盛りのついた犬ってね。
Amane, it's a bitch you'd eat. Anyway, where did you hear that story from, Makina?
それはもちろんため息の似合う黒女のユミちゃんからなのよさ。
That is quite a nickname. To conjecture from what I've heard so far, it seems the offer I communicated to Michiru was badly distorted on its way to Amane in the classic telephone game style, but it'd be a pain in the ass to try and correct all their misunderstandings one by one, so I guess I'll gather a whole lot of them and explain. Before the story gets even more muddled, let's discuss this as a group.
では 私はみちる様と榊さんにお声をかけてきますね。
So they just want to request an orgy. That's about right. Yeah, I appreciate it. As it turned out that Sakaki had left the dorm for a while, we ended up waiting for the slightly cooler evening before gathering in the lobby for our little chat. Now then, I've got you all together. Got a few preliminary questions for clarity's sake. Sakaki, what did you tell Makina this afternoon?
私は松島さんから聞いた話をそのままイリスさんに伝えただけよ。
Word for word. Alright then, Michiru, what did you tell Sakaki?
私はユージが何でも人の頼みを聞くって伝えたはずだけど。
I see, so that's how it is. Makina's fault!
なんで私が叩かれてるのよ。
Because from the sound of things, you're pretty obviously the sole criminal here.
だって何でも言うこと聞くって言ったらエロいこと OK って考えるのが当然じゃね。だからって奴隷はないでしょう。奴隷はその考えは甘いのよ。今の若者に必要なのは発想力。常に他人の一歩先を行くことが重要なのよさ。
それとこれとは完全に別問題だと思うけどまあうすうすそんな気はしてたんだけどね。
I'm gonna say you know. Smiling wryly, Amina rubs the back of her head in an uncharacteristic gesture of mild embarrassment.
でもユージが私たちの頼みを聞くって言ったのは本当の話よね。
Yeah, I did indeed say that.
だから私がユミコに伝えたことは間違いじゃないわけよ。
Well, be sure no one's blaming you.
それは分かったけれど本当に何でもなの？
Well, it has to be something I'm capable of doing, but more or less.
それは当然としても。
どうして突然そんなことになったわけ？
It's a little complicated, but to put it simply, I'm doing this for Sachi's sake.
ああ、そういえばさっきもサチの負担を減らしたいとか言ってたもんね。
Yup, that's what Makina does. Michiru shrugs her shoulders, a mildly exasperated expression on her face.
つまりさっちゃんの彼氏になったからにはユージもメイドさんになると？
The maid faith, guys. Everyone, servitude. Yeah, I guess you could put it that way. Although I could quibble about that phrasing, she's got the crucial point down. I'm assuming the role normally reserved for Sachi in the story.
よくわからないんだけどこれはそういう話なの？
Manservant?
本人がそうだって言ってるんだからそうなんじゃない？だとしたらこれは面白いことになったね。
I'm gonna say I can figure this one out.
お兄ちゃんがメイドになるってそんなに面白いことなのよ。
Makina's probably imagining Yuji in a maid outfit.
さすがにトレードまではいかないまでもユージに無茶が言えるってことなんだしね。一応言っとくけどお兄ちゃんはもうサッチンのもんだからな。
Even though Makina's the one that said, hey, for ecchi things. She's the one that's right nominated. Yo, don't make Sachi cry.
大丈夫大丈夫。浮気にならないやり方なんていくらでもあるんだから。
Oh shit, Amane.
怖え、ビッチの本気怖え。
Super bitch. Yumiko's like, oh no.
ねえユミコ、もしかしてあんたも何か頼むつもりなの？
Well, guess it's a harem route after all.
もちろん操作みたいなことは考えてないけれど普通の用事は頼むかもしれないわね。
Massages, you know. Shoulder massages, man. Yo, if I were you guys, I would ask for shoulder massages. Because the only person you give a terrible massage to is Michiru. What is wrong with her? No, Amane's a bitch in heat, man.
普通ってどんな？
マッサージとか。
That's right. The indoorsy Yumiko knows that massages are very important to keep your body not going like all old and shit. Guys, remember this. Flexibility, letting your body stretch, very important. I am some X amount of years past, I don't know, some amount of years. And I would like to say, I don't act like an old man normally. And the reason is because I try to keep a semi-relaxed condition to my own body. Massages, very great for that too, if you can't do it yourself. I'm just gonna be like breast massage. Just bring some sandpaper for me, sure. What? Sachi's like, hey, everyone's having fun, right? Even as the atmosphere of our little meeting takes a rapid turn for the dubious, Sachi maintains her utterly unperturbed smile. So anyway, ultimately speaking, might be taking some of your work from you, Sachi. Is that alright with you? I see.
でもサチ、お兄ちゃんを信用するのはいいのだけど、今回ばかりは反対しておいた方がいいと思うのよ。
Hey, look at Amane.
反対ってどうして？
油切った中小企業の課長みたいになってるアマネの顔を見る限り、お兄ちゃんはきっと明日からパンツが乾く暇もなくなると思うのよさ。そうなったらお兄ちゃんの彼女になったサッチンとしては面白くねえよな。
よくわからないけど、パンツが乾かないなら乾燥機に入れればいいんじゃない？
そっか。サッチンはきっと旦那が浮気しても笑顔で許せる物分かりのいい奥さんになんな。
Sachi's like, what? Huh. I hadn't anticipated this wild burst of excitement from Amane and company, but at present Sachi doesn't seem to be harboring any doubts about my behavior, or any curiosity whatsoever, really. But that's alright for now. What really matters is what lies ahead, how Sachi's static patterns of thought will evolve through observing my example. My previous school, when compared to your more conventional learning institutions, operated on a decidedly extreme educational philosophy. As a representative example, an instructor once showed us a plain white cup, loudly insisted it was even greener than your fresh-faced little shits. He then spent the entire lesson ensuring none of us dared even think otherwise. Those relatively new to the place tended to spend a good deal of time grumbling about how insane all this was. But when the time came and we were dumped out into the field, those who survived eventually came to understand that these hazing sessions were in fact surprisingly meaningful. Point being, when you need to produce results that can't be achieved using ordinary methods, sometimes it's necessary to satisfy unfair demands. And through my steadfast dedication to this principle, I currently find myself playing the role of a devoted maid serving a capricious master.
Yuji! 冷たい飲み物はまだ?
Coming. Zamina reclines indolently on the sofa, carefully bring over a freshly brewed cup of tea. Since you didn't specify anything in particular, I brought milk tea. Is that acceptable?
あれ? Yuji が紅茶ってちょっと意外かも.
Well, unlike Sachi, I don't have a fully stocked supply locker. Ran over and borrowed this from Chizuru's room.
それ絶対許可取ってないわよね.
No, but that's the price you have to pay for these high-quality Assam leaves. Not easy to get your hands on them lately.
私、アッサムってあまり詳しくないんだけど、飲み方はミルクティーがおすすめなの?
Assam teas... Actually, yeah, they make a very good milk tea. Yeah, compared to something like Darjeeling, Assam tea is pretty strong, both in color and taste. To mellow that out a little, people usually dilute it with milk before drinking. Complements the flavor nicely.
へえ、ユージって紅茶も詳しいんだね。イメージ的にはコーヒー、ブラックでって感じなのに。
I mean, that's the type of guy I am, but I love my teas. And yes, Darjeeling tea is actually very good as is. Very nice standalone tea. a cube of sugar sometimes if you want a little spice it up, you know, a relaxation. I do drink coffee more often, yes, but black tends to upset your stomach, and if I'm drinking something other than water, I usually try to get some sugar intake while I'm at it. As a general rule, I tend to drink my coffee heavily sweetened.
こうやって聞いてみると、実はユージもいろいろと考えてるんだね。
I bet people are more surprised about the fact that you're a tea type of guy, Krishi. Tea's good. Tea's good. Actually, I think people will be more surprised by the fact that Yuji knows like everything, right? Compared to the fine calorie counting you're always doing, it's hardly anything worth mentioning.
でも食事はあれだけ質素なんだから不思議よね。
Having declared my willingness to serve in Sachi's place, I ended up waiting on Amane hand and foot all morning like some kind of personal servant. After the way that conversation went yesterday, I guess I should be grateful she hasn't tried any seriously shady orders. Alright, Amane, if you got any other requests, go ahead and tell me now.
本当に言っちゃっていいの？
If you're going to ask me at some point, might as well get it out of the way now instead of later.
そっかそっか。じゃあお言葉に甘えて、ユージもさっちゃんみたいにメイド服を。
Goodness, Miss Amane, you seem rather fatigued. Do allow me to give you a shoulder rub. Firmly seizing Amane's shoulders as I cut off her sentence, dig my thumb sharply into the muscles around her neck.
やっぱり嫌がった。
Whatever are you saying, mistress? This is nothing but an earnest expression of concern on my part.
まあ、羊っぽいユージの対応が見れたことだし、今回はそういうことにしておいてあげよう。
It'd be funny if they get him like a butler outfit. Thank you very much.
それにしても、ユージ、マッサージも上手。
All you need to have strong fingers and know where like the good pressure points to hit for massaging is. It's actually pretty easy in my opinion, but not that many people agree with me, and that's why there's professional masseuses. Amane smirks in evident satisfaction at my submissive words, but soon enough she's squirming underneath my vigorous shoulder rub. Speculating from what I've seen of Sachi's behavior, seems to be two methods of coping with problematic requests like this one. Either attempt to interject before the words are fully out of their mouth, or deliberately fail to hear them. Of course, I don't think Sachi's consciously trying to be dishonest, but it's a fact that she's managed to slip past some difficult requests using this sort of plausible deniability technique. But given the absolute nature of the laws Sachi's imposed on herself, careless words without any real malice behind them could easily lead to disaster. To live a halfway decent life under such restraints, utilizing these kinds of gray areas is probably an absolute necessity.
なあ、サッチー。お兄ちゃんが何でも言うことを聞くって言ったのをいいことに、暴食美人の限りを尽くすあの年上、どう思うよ。
それを言うなら傍若無人だと思うけど、ゆうくんもあまねさんも楽しそうだからいいんじゃないかな。
その目、ちゃんと見えてるか？
視力は両目とも 1.5 だよ。
Oh, she has good vision.
最近の発言を聞いてると、だんだんサッチンのことが心配になってくるのよさ。
それよりマキちゃんはゆうくんに何かをお願いしたりはしないの？
おう、そっか。何もお兄ちゃんはアマネーだけのものじゃなかったのよさ。
Oh, well, Yuji now just became a chew toy for the dog.
ゆうくんはあまねさんだけに言ってたわけじゃないと思うし。
よし、そうと決まったら早速お兄ちゃん奪還作戦を実行するのよさ。
Reconquista operation.
アイマン。
おうおう、アマ兄さんよ。若いツバメを加工で楽しむんもその辺にしときんさいや。
そうね、あんまり独り占めしてミチルに呪いの藁人形とか作られても困るし。
そんなの作らないし。
She heard it. From nowhere in particular, there's an outraged burst of protest, followed immediately by the sound of someone scampering up the stairs. Probably safe to assume a certain nosy airhead was observing a little role-playing session from a fixed point in the shadows.
じゃあ前菜の了解も取ったことだし、次は私たちもお兄ちゃんタイムをエンジョイするのよさ。
glasses.
でもマキちゃん、ゆうくんと一緒に何をするつもりなの？
はーい、サッチも一緒なら今日は勉強でもすっか。
Study session. I was like, what?
チルチルがテストで100点取った時みたいな顔されると、いくらハートの強さが売りの私でも傷つくぞ。
Oh, wow.
だって普段あんだけ勉強嫌いって言ってる子がいきなりだもん。そりゃ驚くって。
あまねえ、私はやっと気づいたのよさ。
What? What was realized?
気づいた？
そう、つまらないことにいつまでもこだわっていると、どこかの誰かさんみたいに生き遅れになってしまうって。
The Machina not like her report card or something? Oh.
年齢のことで私の噂をしてるのは。
Oh, Jesus, no!
誰のことを言ってるのかは分かったけど、どうにもうさんくさい気がするのは私だけ。
Karichi, you should just, you know what? Don't just watch the live streams before. Just go and watch them on your own time. Skip the bad ending if you have to. Well, whatever the reason may be, trying to improve your weakness is an admirable thing. I'll gladly help out.
お兄ちゃんゲットなのよさ。
ゲットだぜ。
え、本当に勉強するとしてどこでやるの？私の部屋？
もちろん学校の教室でやるのよ。
どうして教室？
ハマネの部屋だとすぐに副交感神経が刺激されて眠くなっちゃうからな。
Wow. I mean, that's fair.
すごい、なんか本当にやる気だ。
マキちゃん自身が言い出したことですし、ここは本人の気が変わらないうちに実行してしまうのが得策かもしれません。
Sounds about right. Although our study session began with this relatively auspicious show of determination, it was less than an hour before the group's attention began to wander. In the end, I was forced to endure an hour-long session of strip old maid on women machinas.
結局ユージは一回も負けなかったわね。
As we make our way back to the dorm, Amina grumbles a few resentful words, arms folded behind her head. Any card game comes down to how well you can read your opponents. When you've got the hang of that, the odds of finishing at the very bottom get pretty low.
でもあれだけバカ勝ちされるとイカサマしてると思われても仕方がないのよ。
I bet she didn't even touch the cards, right? Incidentally, Amane, you tend to leave the card you want to get rid of right in the middle of your hand. In Machina, your expression always makes it crystal clear when you get the old maid.
あっちゃ、私ってばそんなことになってたんだ。
Jeez. At my old school, cards were the most convenient form of entertainment by far. Couldn't help but pick up an eye for tells. Yeah, seriously. Alright. As a person who has played my fair share of poker hands and stuff, if you can't do a good bluff or if you can't do a good bluff and you have obvious tells, you're out. Out! Out! They'll catch you every time. The real card sharks of the world. We know. We see it. We're like, oh man, guy plays too obviously. I play very chaotically, and so people have a very hard time reading me. Because I'll blatantly lie and tell the truth in the same tone of voice. Even after I started at Ichigaya, many of the regular employees I worked with on the job were major poker lovers, including a few who'd throw their car keys into the pot with their perfectly composed faces.
おかげで私はたくさん脱がされてしまいました。
だな、お兄ちゃんは今自分の彼女を脱がせまくった罪悪感に打ちひしがれているはずなのよ。
Personally, I think Sachi's losing streak had more to do with the way you people kept asking her which one's the old maid at the end of the round. Oh. Of course, Sachi would answer with perfect honesty every time, so she invariably ended up stuck with the Joker in the end.
だってユージの前で脱ぎたくなかったんだもん。
She prances around completely naked and shoves her breasts against me at every opportunity. She's self-conscious about this. Sometimes women are just incomprehensible.
何にせよ、お見苦しいものをお見せしてしまってすみませんでした。
No problems on that count. Might have mentioned this before. My principle is not to refuse what's offered to me.
そういう割には私に冷たいんだよね。
Missed opportunity for the siege eater? I wonder why. I think it's only natural to get suspicious over that kind of gratuitous service. But as a general rule, men tend to enjoy watching their girlfriend strip down to her underwear, and I'm no exception.
ありがとうございます。
I was like, that could have been me.
そういうことなら、ユージの彼女じゃない私とマキナはここらでおいとまさせてもらいましょうか。
Before anyone can respond to Amina's sudden declaration, she grabs Makina's hand and pulls a step ahead of us.
なんか用事か？
用事ってわけじゃないんだけど、あんたに新しく覚えたおやつでも作ってあげようと思ってさ。
なんかしんねえけど、アマネーが優しい。さては給料日だな。
It's payday!
いや、学生は給料とかもらわないから。
お兄ちゃんみたいにバイトしてるわけじゃねえしな。
Not in this route.
分かってるならなんで聞いた？
勢い
そういうわけだから、いろいろわがままに付き合ってくれてありがとう、ユージ。
Fine by me. I was sort of expecting you to drag me around all day, to be honest.
予定が空いたなら、さっちゃんとデートしてくればいいじゃない。
A date?
そう、せっかく恋人同士になったんだから、デートくらいして当然でしょ。
I see. Amina seems well versed in romantic maneuvering, so if she says so, maybe this is the right timing. Alright, Sachi. How about we go out on a date?
はい、わかりました。
相変わらず即答だな。
さっちゃんだって女の子だもん。好きな人とデートできて嬉しくないはずがないわよね。私はただゆうくんがしたいと言ったことにうなずくだけですから。
Oh, well, she agreed very readily. I wonder why.
ふーん、なるほどね。
Amina's like, I see it. Watching Sachi squirm, Amina smirks suggestively to no one in particular. From that expression, I'm willing to bet she's plotting something. Better keep a careful eye on that one.
じゃあユージ、後のことは任せたからね。
Right.
サッチンもガツンと決めてくるのよ。
よくわからないけど、ありがとう、マキちゃん。
Hit him with your best shot.
それじゃあ、帰ってきたらいろいろ聞かせてよね。
With those words, Amina hurries off with Makina in tow. And there they go.
行ってしまいましたね。
Well, guess we may as well go on this date then.
はい、よろしくお願いします。
Sachi nods obediently, a bright smile on her face. All perfectly typical Sachi, but today that very normality troubles me slightly. So you wonder if there's really any feeling behind the pleased tone of her voice. That smile's completely hollow. For the time being, let's change out of our uniforms and meet up in the dorm lobby.
わかりました。
That's not true. I watched Sachi make her way back to the dorm, trying my best to reassure myself. Oh, it's tough
す
to
み
tell.
ません。少し遅くなってしまいました。
No, that's... maid uniform after all. Huh.
メイド服はメイド服でも、これは最近購入した外出用のおしゃれ着でして、胸元の赤いリボンもこう、より色鮮やかに。
I wonder if anyone compared all the CGs to see if what she's saying is actually true. Okay, I get it. Actually, I can't see any difference whatsoever. I suppose I'll have to take the maid expert's word on this one. Right then. As for the plan, we decided this pretty suddenly, so I have absolutely nothing.
やっぱりそうですよね。
So for today, I thought we could do whatever you feel like, Sachi.
私がやりたいことですか？
That's right. Even if it's cleaning the dorm or bayonet drills, I'm up for it. Whatever you feel like is fine.
そうですね。
Sachi places a hand on her cheek, shuts her eyes, and begins to think the matter over. If nothing's coming to mind, you can say so.
すみません。私やっぱり自分から案を出すのは苦手みたいで。
Come to think of it, you told me the same thing back when I transferred in. When she was a kid, Sachi used to constantly invent new games to drag me into them. It's probably safe to say this is another area of her personality strongly influenced by the trauma the accident inflicted on her.
なので今日はゆうくんが普段していることを一緒にするというのはいかがでしょうか?
My typical activities basically come down to training and reading. Might be a bit of a stretch to call that a date, don't you think?
それは大丈夫です。どんな内容でも私とゆうくんがデートだと思えばそれはもう立派なデートです。
Hey, I like how Yuji's like a little bit hesitant to take Sachi out for training. And literally that's what he did with Makina when Makina's dressed up for it. Oh, that's great. I see. Thanks to JB and Chizuru's incessant grumbling, I had a pretty fixed image of a date as something like dinner at an expensive restaurant with a skyline view. Sachi's absolutely right. The important thing is what experience means to the people involved, not whether it means some arbitrary societal standard. Alright, in that case, why don't you tag along on my training today?
ありがとうございます。
Keep in mind, my training is no joke. This may be a date, but be sure to approach it with the utmost caution.
は、了解したであります。
Are you ready, Ranger Komine?
はい、運動用のメイド服に着替えてきたであります。
Does it look slightly different? Can you guys tell? 10 minutes later, as Sachi holds her rifle, reed broom, in the classic shouldering position, I bellow my approval. Alright, well done. Also, you will respond to any further orders with an immediate Hwah! That clear? Ranger! Not bad. Squeal a bit better than your average stuck pig. We're starting off with a nice easy round of squat jumps. You know the drill?
以前、インターネット上の動画で確認したことがありますです。
Oh, they say you're always prepared, Komine. Seems like they're right. Can't cut it as a ranger. You have a bright future selling cookies with the Girl Scouts. Deference to your shrewdness. I'll permit you to substitute the regulation 3.5 kilogram rifle for that broom of yours.
は、ありがとうございます、軍曹殿。
Alright then, your target for this drill, 30 repetitions. I hear you've been clambering down schoolhouse walls with those legs. Let's see what they can do.
レンジャー !1、2、3、4...
After offering her energetic ascent, Sachi shoulders the broom behind her neck, jumps into the air from a low squat, and alternates her leading foot on the way back down. The movements vaguely resemble the well-known Cossack dance, but the need to leap all the way up every time places a severe strain on your lower body.
15、16、17...
As if to demonstrate, Sachi's movements quickly grow sluggish after her 15th repetition. What's the matter, Ranger Komine? Even a bottle blonde, twin-tailed pseudo-scenario could struggle through that much. And I think Yuji did force her to. Is that maid uniform just for show? Get moving!
ちょっといい?
Amana's like, Turn around in response to a tap on my shoulder, but to find Amane standing behind me with an ominous glower on her face. Oh, if it is Amane, weren't you making Makina a snack or something?
いや、それはもう終わったから様子を見に来たんだけど、もしかしてこれがデートなの?
That's right. Sachi asked if she could participate in some of my typical activities.
で、軍隊式トレーニングってわけ?
Yeah, incidentally, the constant shouting helps develop your abdominal muscles. Makes a surprisingly big difference in the results of any exercise routine. In my experience, give it a try if you ever get anxious about your waist.
それはどうも。って私が言いたいのはもっとデートらしいデートをしてあげてもいいんじゃないってこと?
Of course. Like Chizuru and JB, Amane would be concerned about appearances. Don't follow. Please elaborate.
だっていくら好きな人と一緒だからって軍隊の真似事みたいなことやらされて喜ぶ女の子がいると思う?
Be true. Probably not that many now that you mention it.
だったら普通に買い物したり映画を見たりした方が絶対いいじゃん。
I get your point, but Sachi did make the request.
それでももう少し気を利かせてあげてもいいと思うけど。
In other words, in between drills, bend down and whisper loving words in her ear, something like that?
そうじゃなくて、ユージなら読書もよくしてるんだから、図書館で読書とかでもよかったんじゃない？
True enough. That sounds a bit more like a date.
ちなみに聞きたいんだけど、この後はどんな予定になってたの？
Kurishi, that's Yuji in a nutshell. Well, a round trip over a one-rope bridge, followed by a rope climbing session, probably would have finished things off with a 10-mile rifle run. Amane is not happy with that response. Amane had kept her cool until now. My latest response is followed by some violent trembling on her part. Something wrong? Need a bathroom break? Don't let me keep you.
Yuji! ちょっと来なさい!
Suddenly exploding with anger, Amane grabs my hand and starts yanking me fiercely along. Hold on, what are you trying to...
いいから、つべこべ言わずについてくる!
The online equivalent is a GTA online trial. No, Yuji's like the real deal this from. Yeah, you get the message, but we can't just leave Sachi training.
ごめん、さっちゃん。ユージのことを少し借りるから、ちょっとだけ待っててね。レンちゃん。それと、返事は普通に戻していいから。
はい、わかりました。
She's going at it, man.
ついにアマネが切れてるのさ。マキちゃん、何食べてるの？
You're gonna take this girl on a normal date, and you're gonna like it, right?
アマネが作った乳糖ドーナツ。たくさんあるから、サッチも食べるといいのよ。ありがとう。で、豆乳ドーナツだよね、これ。で、ずいぶん落ち着いてるみたいだけど、彼氏が連れてかれちゃっても平気なのよ。あまねさん、何か用事があるみたいだし、仕方ないよ。
Yeah, I mean, like, probably.
そんなこと言って、あまねの用事がお兄ちゃんを食べちゃうことだったらどうするのよ？食べるとしたら、やっぱりもも肉とかかな。
A tender thaw meat.
マキちゃんだったら、ゆうくんはどこが美味しいと思う？
Cannibalism, you say.
やっぱサッチンはすげえな。
After a rough march to the rooftop, I'm forced to sit on my heels under Amina's withering gaze of scorn.
こうして正座してもらってるのは、ユージに反省してもらうためだからね。
I do understand that much, yes. You're basically saying that squat jumping is an inappropriate choice for a first date, right?
っていうか、軍隊みたいな訓練全部いくらユージが変わり者だからってさすがに限度があるわよ。
This route has the most breaks away from Yuji? Maybe. Maybe you're right, but Sachi seemed to be enjoying it in a way, didn't she?
それはさっちゃんが涙が出るくらいいい子だからであって、ステーキが大好きだけど卵かけご飯も食べられますっていうのと同じ原理よ。
I see. Nice analogy, I get it now.
それにユージならもっと女の子が喜びそうなところだって連れて行けたでしょ。
Well, I was considering inviting her to a meal at first, I guess.
やっぱりね。それならなおさらあんなデートになる意味がわからないわよ。
Amina glowers down at me, her eyes narrowing in an expression of transparent vexation. Among other things, this whole date idea was her suggestion, so she seemed truly and earnestly upset that it didn't go well. You have a point. Might have been taking advantage of Sachi's tolerant nature on this one. For someone who understands how Sachi's mind works, why, that's fundamentally wrong. Even when it comes to something as small as this.
ここからは本当に真剣な話なんだけど、ユージはさっちゃんがこの学園にいる理由を知ったんでしょ？
We're going for almost 3 hours and 15 minutes. Not 3.5. We'll get to the next date break, the next break with the eye catch for the date, okay? I'm enjoying this. This is fun. Alright? As she delivers the question in a slightly lower tone of voice, Amane's eyes bore searchingly into mine. What makes you say that?
とぼけても無駄。いくらさっちゃんが幼馴染だったからって何の理由もなくユージが付き合うことにしたなんて言い出すはずないもの。
Amane declares this without so much as a moment's hesitation. There's a flat, matter-of-fact certainty in her voice. In other words, this woman is absolutely confident that she understands me. Guess there's no point in pretending then.
やっぱりそうなんだ。
Yeah, I know about the incident that brought Sachi to this school. I know about the trauma at the root of it all. On the basis of that knowledge, I thought long and hard about what I could do for Sachi as she is today. And ultimately, I decided becoming a couple would be an essential step in that process.
言ってることはわかるけど、それは本当に必要なことだったの？
Getting halfway involved isn't going to cut it. The law Sachi's imposed on herself is too brittle and too dangerous for that. You all saw for yourselves what can happen when those shackles bind her too tightly, didn't you? Oh man. Amane gently closes her eyes and holds her silence for a long moment.
じゃあ、最後に一つ聞かせてほしいんだけど。何かしてあげたいって思ったのは、ユージがさっちゃんのことを好きになったから？
And when her eyes open again, they communicate a serious warning. Don't even think about trying to dodge the question. To be completely honest, I don't really know whether I love Sachi or not. But I do know that I was drawn to her, for something she had that I don't, and I was completely serious about choosing her. Shut my eyes and honestly put my feelings into the clearest words I can. After a moment, I hear Amane sigh softly.
そっか。正直に答えてくれてありがとう。
Amane has always approached me with straightforward affection and kindness. In retrospect, I probably should have done her the courtesy of making this equally clear from the start. Alright, mind if I ask you a question of my own?
いいけど、どんなこと？
What is Sachi to you, Amane?
もちろん、大切な友達に決まってるじゃない。
Once more, her response comes without a moment's hesitation. A friend, huh?
だって、さっちゃんはすごくいい子だし、さっちゃんがいてくれて助かったことも、楽しかったことも、たくさんあるもの。だから、私以外の誰に同じ質問をしても、絶対同じ答えが返ってくるって、私は思ってるけど。
As she says those words, there's an almost proud smile on Amane's face. Anyone who saw that expression would instantly know those words aren't merely polite flattery. Good to hear. I'm all the more convinced now. Mumbling more to myself than Amane, finally ease off my heels and flopping down cross-legged onto the warm concrete.
それってどういうこと？
Well, to put it simply, right now, I think Sachi needs people like you more than anything else in the world.
ごめん、ユージの言ってることがよくわからないんだけど。
Well, that's alright. It's more convenient for me that way.
何よそれ。それじゃあ私が納得できないってば。
Basically, I think he usually looks at people who treat her with normalcy and affection. Alright then, it's nothing complicated. Since you called Sachi your friend, Amane, I want to ask you for a little favor on her behalf.
頼み？
That's right. If you really care about Sachi, I want you to keep treating her exactly as you have until now.
今までと同じって、そんな普通のことでいいの？
I don't think anyone in this place, myself included, has had nearly enough of that sort of ordinary in their lives. Oh, snap. Spell it out. Not trying to say it's as simple as that. What Sachi needs right now is to realize what she has. My answer is purposely a bit on the opaque side. Not exactly the concrete explanation of my plans Amane was clearly looking for. Without a single complaint, she quietly searches for the meaning of those words on her own.
わかった。そうすることで私も何かを手伝えるって言うなら、ユージの言う通りにする。
Aw, there you go.
でもそれはユージに言われたからとかじゃなくて、さっちゃんの友達として当然のことなんだからね。
Yeah, thank you, Amane.
ユージってそんなに素直にお礼が言えるんだ。
Yeah, I know, right? You say something?
なんでもない。
Alright.
それとさ、ユージは気づいてないかもしれないけど、
さっちゃんと一緒にいる時のユージ、笑ってることが多くなったよ。
Oh snap. What?
ユージのことをずっと見てきた私が言うんだから間違いないって。
Putting a hand on her hip as she speaks, Amane flashed me a smile that's just a little too spirited to be fully convincing. Amane.
じゃあユージへのお説教タイムはここらで終わりにするとして。
But you didn't tell him what to do for the date!
頼み事をされた私の方からもユージに一つだけお願い事。
And what would that be?
私を振って別の女の子を選んだからにはさっちゃんのことちゃんと幸せにしてあげてよね。
With a little wink, Amane promptly turns on her heel and leaves the rooftop. Look at me, getting the full kid gloves treatment from a woman. Amane's got a lot more delicacy than you guess. And while I don't want to suggest her gender gives her some universal insight into the female mind, she's taught me a lot of things in her role as unofficial ambassador of young women. Smile more often when I'm with Sachi, huh? I hadn't even been aware. Maybe the reason I chose Sachi had something to do with that as well. Either way, I've already found myself indebted to my classmates' insight and kindness. For once, it seems Chizuru's advice might have been genuinely worth listening to. Yeah! It's 8-3. And yeah! With all the cicadas buzzing about, I think it's a good time to call it. I had fun. I hope you guys did too. No one a little long, but hey, it's the Sachi route, so you got to get some of it done. So, with that said, enjoying it. But that's the end of tonight's Monday Night Livestream. I'll see you guys next week for another Monday Night Livestream at 7 p.m. EST or whatever else I make. So, for now, see you. Have a good night. Peace.